Valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Time to get the edge on the Miami Dolphins with our Edge Energy Drink Miami Dolphins report.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. For over 25 years, South Floridians have counted on Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises for their roofing needs. In South Florida, we battle the sweltering heat, rain, winds, and all kinds of tropical storms. That's why when it comes to protecting your family, home, or business, call Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises.com. 954-735-9826 or 954-394-1411 and ask to speak to Tommy, the owner. They specialize in all kinds of roofs. All work fully guaranteed with the customer's complete satisfaction. A-plus rated member of the Better Business Bureau. Licensed and insured. There's no buts about it. When your roof needs repair or replacement, go to TommyBButtsJrEnterprises.com. A certified widening contractor. Wilton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Wilton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane, Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. South Florida's premier law enforcement agency is now hiring individuals like you. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is now accepting applications for non-certified and certified police officer positions. Minimum requirements and qualifications can be found at FLPDjobs.com. That's FLPDjobs.com. Are you ready? The city of Fort Lauderdale is an equal opportunity employer.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed. They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
This is the Big O Show!
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big O Show! Judge, you tuned in to the hottest sports radio.
When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547.
Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Dolphins to the Heat, well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Lollipop, blow in the...
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The views and statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. Ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
The Big O Radio Show is brought to you by Caneswear. Go to Caneswear.com, where all orders over $99 get free shipping. Sloman's Total Home Security. Protect your home with the best in the business. 1-800-ALARM-ME for the company serving America for nearly 100 years. 1-800-ALARM-ME. Tommy B. Butts Junior Enterprises.com. Licensed roofing contractor. 100% financing is available. Go to Tommy B. Butts Junior Enterprises.com.
The Big O Radio Show originates from the OK Coin Studios. Invest a little time and save big. Just set the recurring buy and pay, 0 transaction fee after your first purchase. The Big O Radio Show is mastered by executive producer Sean Stanley from the OK Coin Studios. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
To rock and roll. Good morning out there. Hope you all are doing well on a beautiful Monday. It's a beautiful Monday because we're blessed. We're here. We got a loaded show for you. Got a bunch of guests. Got all kinds of stuff to talk about, which is really good. Obviously, it's always good to have stuff to talk about, of course. Welcome aboard to those of you that are on YouTube watching live. Please smash the like button as always. Sean Stanley, good morning, sir. He is the man that masters this program every single day, literally, by the way, since it's posted every day on YouTube, even on weekends with the best ofs, which really nice cover on the best ofs there that you added, Sean. So good stuff there as always. Good week this week, right? Because we're adding 3 insiders to the family, as we're going to have hockey insiders and we're going to have NFL insider. We are adding George Richards and David Dwork this week with Panther reports. And we're also adding Ian Rappaport on Wednesday at 10:10. We will start. So Wednesday, coming off of Inside the Paint, we will be doing the Ian Rappaport debut. He'll be on weekly at 10:10. So we've got that. The next week we add Anthony Chang to the family. So we'll have another Heat insider there also. And we're trying to finalize. We're trying to we got 2 shows that we're trying to finalize. A Dolphin show and a Kane show. And the Kane show also will add some extra insiders to the whole process. We're just trying to we kind of had it done, but there was a business conflict. And we had no idea that was going to happen. So we are it's not so simple. I've got to find the right venue to host the Kane show and the right venue, and it's got to be a big venue to host this Dolphin show that we're going to do. And so we're kind of in the process of talking to several folks about all of that. And so we're trying to finish all of that, but that will also add, and it'll get to the point where you're going to have a Dolphins, Heat, and Canes report every single day on the program. And that's kind of the idea, obviously, to have that kind of talk, because we know those are the 3 things that drive this town. Heat, Dolphins, and Canes drive this town. So you've got to have that. So, we're getting there. Thanks to all of you out there always tuning in and downloading and watching and subscribing and spreading the word and obviously visiting our sponsors, which is incredibly important. So a big week for us here as we grow a little bit more, as we continue to grow every single week here on the show. By the way, also, I'd be remiss if I did not mention prayers to our friends in Iowa, especially in the Des Moines area, where they went through a brutal experience as a tornado tore through there. I believe we lost 7 people, and including a couple of kids. So really sad story. So I just want the folks in Iowa to know that our thoughts and prayers are with you, and hopefully you'll be able to get through this, obviously, and just a tough one to read about. Lots of ways to contribute to the program. If you want to get in on the Welt and Realm text line, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. If you want to get in on the Welt and Realm text line, great attorneys, by the way. If you need an attorney, condo damage, personal injury, criminal defense, homeowner property damage, call Welt and Realm, 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646 for Welt and Realm. They are great people, so make sure you check them out. All right. Daniel Grafton already chiming in with a little super chat. He says, "Good morning, Sean and Big O. Ever heard of Grethers Pastries? It's good for throat relief and soothes hoarseness in the throat. Comes highly recommended." Okay. All right. Grethers Pastries. Okay. All right. I wrote it down. I mean, listen, since you guys gave me this, it helps, man. The honey and lemon, or lime, actually, now that we found out. By the way, for those of you that weren't watching on Saturday, because we had a Saturday show, and Tyler Van Dyke joined us, so you should catch that interview. And the wife, by the way, it's 16 ounces. Now we have the the right measurement. It's 16 ounces of boiling water. It's 4 tablespoons of honey and half a lime. Okay? That's what it is. That's what she does every day for me. Every day that I do a show. If I don't do a show, she doesn't have to do it. I mean, she doesn't have to do anything. Obviously, she does it out of love because she's my wife and I love her and all that good stuff. But she does it on the days that I am going to do a show. So she'll make one for me because obviously, you do a lot of talking. And so, like any engine needs lubrication, so does your throat. And so there you go. 16 ounces of boiling hot water, 3 tablespoons of honey. That's the big spoon. And then half a lime. And it works. It does work. It has helped. I don't struggle with the voice when it's been used a lot like I normally would because I do all that stuff. Nizzle says, morning from Cleveland, back in the office on my grind. Good for you. It's nice to see people getting back to the office, getting back to normal life, less masks, all that kind of stuff. Throughout all of this, obviously, I've been very careful, but I've never stopped working. I've never stopped going out. I never stopped anything. You know what I mean? Because I always thought you could still do things as long as you're responsible about it. You know what I mean? So when the virus is hot and heavy, don't get in people's faces and to start touching things and touching your face and all that. So those are the disciplines you just had to learn. Wash your hands several times a day, all that kind of stuff, and you'll be fine, man. It's not like you really had to hide in your house, but it's nice to see that the world is, well, I don't know about the world. I shouldn't say that because there are places that if they're not, highly vaccinated, they're going to have issues. But it's nice to see that we're getting our lives back. That's for sure. By the way, before I get into some of this is sports too, but into the hot and heavy sports stuff, I do have to say something. And by the way, Alexander Rene Diaz says, "Oh, thank God you came on. If I have to listen to TD and his crap one more time, I'm going to throw up." What's TD and his crap? I don't know what that is, bro. I'm sorry. I'm glad I relieved you of whatever TD is. I'm not sure what that is. I just know TD as touchdown. And isn't the Dolphins mascot called TD? Right? I mean, that's all I know is TD. I don't know anything else. So I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I'm glad you're all right now. TD is a Finns YouTuber who's always negative. Oh, okay. All right. I see. Okay. But see, Alexander, I don't understand something. If you don't like somebody, why do you listen to them? Why do you watch them at all? I never understand that part. It's like when somebody comes on the board here, it's like and complains about me. I look at it really weird. Like, dude, if you don't like me, why are you on the chat board? Why are you watching? I don't understand that. I'm the person that if I have no interest, I'm not watching. If I don't like you, why would I watch or download? You guys always tell me, "Hey, did you see this from Bayless or Calturd?" And I'm like, and I always say, "No." Do you know why? Because I never watch. I have no interest. Zero. So I don't understand that at all. Alexander Rene Diaz. None. That I can't comprehend that. And many of you do that. You actually watch and listen to people you hate or dislike. Why? You have your own answer already. You've answered your situation. You really don't hate that person then. You really, Renee, you don't hate TD Finstock. If you're watching him, you really don't hate him. Don't tell me you don't like somebody and then you're watching them. That doesn't make any sense. I'm just saying. That's kind of the way it is. So I don't know the man, TD, whatever. I have no idea who he is. Don't know him. But, whatever. If you don't like him, you're watching him, you do like him then. You have to like him. Let's see what else. I deserve that. Oh, yeah, no, it's just weird, Alexander. Of course you deserve it. It's just the weirdest thing in the world. You obviously like the guy. It's just odd. Anyway. So, I want to get into some that before I get into the football stuff, I just want to mention a story that's out there now. And it's a little head scratching. I feel bad for the entire situation. Did you guys hear about Brittany Griner? So she's a professional basketball player, and she's now being held in Russia. And the woman was leaving Russia. She was playing basketball in Russia because I was asking myself, like, what are you doing in Russia? You know what I'm saying? And apparently this happened 3 weeks ago. So this happened before the war started. Now it's worse with the war starting, and they could use her as a pawn against the Americans and all that stuff. So, they could use this against our government and make hell for her and all that stuff, because this apparently happened 3 weeks ago. But here's the thing. I just want to mention to any of you out there. Look, man, you're traveling Miami to Connecticut, New Jersey to Nashville, Miami to Los Angeles, New York to Los Angeles, Seattle to Albany, Georgia. And you got your vape pen and you got a little weed on the side or whatever there, a little vape thing, and you put it in your bag, whatever. Nothing's probably going to happen. And even if they get the little vial, they might confiscate it, throw it away, whatever, give you a warning. They're not going to arrest you in this country. They're not going to do anything like that anymore for those kind of things. So you could travel with your vape pen, okay? Now, you're in Russia. You're in North Korea. You're in, I don't know, Cuba. You're in, I don't know, just give me any uncomfortable country that has some kind of screwed up government. Common sense would tell you, you're a professional basketball player. You make a little money. Yeah, leave your hash oil there, dude. Okay? You don't need it. You can go get more in America where you're traveling. That's the part about the whole, nobody talks about that part about the Brittany. Yes, it's terrible for her. It's a horrible situation. It becomes a political mess. It's devastating for her partner and all of that, the WNBA, all of that. But ladies and gentlemen, let's use some effing common sense and leave your sense in your communist state and come back home and buy it here. I mean, really? Did you not think at one point? I know she's had her issues too. She's done things that weren't very smart in the past as it is. So this kind of goes along with it. I'm not wishing her any bad, but I'm just being brutally honest here like we normally are on this show. You got hashish oil, dude. You're going through customs in Russia, and you're American. How are you giving them any excuses? So, there's a part, North Korea there. That's another one. China, there's another one. Exactly. I mean, seriously, dude, come on. Use some common sense. I feel terrible for the young woman. But this reminds me of Midnight Express. It's like you're in Turkey and you're smuggling what was the drug? It wasn't acid, it was opium, right? Right? Or heroin, whatever. And you get busted in Turkey. What do you think's going to happen? Now, what she was smuggling compared to that movie, it's night and day, but still, you're in Russia. Common sense has got to hit you and say, you know, the I really like this hashish oil. It makes me relax a little bit and all that, whatever. You know what? I'll find another way to, or you know what? Out of craziness, you know what you do? You wrap it up and then send it by mail and see if it gets there. And if it gets there, great. If it gets stopped, whatever, but you don't get stopped. You know what I mean? But the entire everybody reads the story, and I heard people talk about it. Not one person mentions this. It's like, come on, man. You're in Russia. Wow. What a terrible story. And that woman is going to be now used as a pawn in this entire mess. I feel terrible for her, but she lacked some common sense in that situation. She put herself in that situation. What you had to do is go through that thing super clean. Don't even bring back Russian vodka. Don't do anything. Just bring back your clothes. Don't give them an excuse. You gave them an excuse. You know? If you're an American in a foreign country, you're always a target. If you're in a foreign country, you're a target, period. Doesn't matter what country you're from. Once you're a foreigner anywhere, be careful. Use common sense. And don't try to export the sense. All right. It's absolute worst timing. Not like Biden would do anything to help her, but it did help. Well, it's not, it's Biden's not going to be able to do any of this. Don't blame this on Biden, Dominic, please. That's weak. Okay. This just happened 3 weeks ago. Blaming any president that's in place, Dominic, this just sounds like you just made it. That was like a weak ass political shot on your part. Okay. That's what that is. You blame Brittany Griner. You don't blame anybody else. You don't blame anybody in this country. Nobody politically, nobody individually. No one is to blame except Brittany Griner. That's it. Using the president, Dominic, is super weak on your ass. You know what that is? That means you're just a butthurt Republican. That's all, dude. And all you were doing is waiting for a moment to take a useless shot that means nothing whatsoever, and it carries no weight whatsoever. So I'll call your ass out for a weak-ass shot that he doesn't deserve. He deserves tons of shots for all kinds of things. That's not the one you use it for. And don't even try to defend it, bro. Don't even try. You've been warned. No, you're just saying stupidity, Dominic. Okay? You're just saying stupidity and ignorance. You're just spewing crap because you're from the other side. That's it, dude. That's all. You're spewing ignorance. And admit it. Like I said, don't defend it. Don't defend it. All right. 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the program. By the way, so Rosenhaus says Agba is not going to get the franchise tag, which, this has kind of been, the MO for Chris Grier. He's not really going to easily cave in on deals. He's kind of been very deliberate about all this stuff. Okay? And so you look at this situation, there's no doubt in my mind that Rosenhaus and company came in with a high number. So you've got to play this game now. And I understand the Dolphins playing this game completely. You can't also go out there and overpay to the point. He's not getting 14 sacks a year or something like that. He's not like this elite pass rusher. He's been a very good pass rusher the last 2 years. And he's done an exceptional job, especially this year, of batting balls. He became an absolute monster with that. So he's a very valuable player. Now, he's been playing for a contract, and he was an underachiever up until these last 2 years, right? So the question is, what is it about the Dolphins that didn't convince him to go all the way with him and give him the deal is the question. And has to be money right now. And it has to be that they feel that they're going to be able to get other options out there. Now, we talked about this last week. I think it's really important to bring back Agba. But I also have to give them the benefit of the doubt because they must feel like they have some kind of an option or some kind of a play. I saw Mike Gesicki heading on his honeymoon and he's wearing a Dolphins hat. So, and he's been so positive about the Dolphins. And I wonder in the building what they've told him because he's not going to get tagged either. But you just wonder, are there some talks? Is there some progress being made? Now, on the Agba side, it doesn't look like the progress was made to the point that, okay, it looks maybe like, okay, he might end up coming back. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. We have no idea. Maybe Agba and Rosenhaus think that there's a specific market out there, and Rosenhaus found out during the combine he's got this market for the guy, so maybe they're going to exercise it. Or they're not sure, but they've got to play the hardball line to try to make it look that way. These are all the unknowns. None of us know. We don't know what the other 30 teams are thinking of, because I doubt Kansas City is going to bring him back. But we don't know what the other 30 teams are thinking of about Emmanuel Agba. We don't know what those 30 general managers and head coaches think and defensive coordinators, and which ones think that he fits or not and really are going to go after him. So we cannot overreact, because I had a couple people on DM like, oh man, we should be tagging him at least. And they don't, I'm sure they don't want the cap tied to hard cap numbers. They want to keep having flexibility. That's kind of the idea. That's why even the first 3 years, they've maintained cap flexibility after they've cleaned up the cap. So if you've noticed, they don't really want to get to the point where they bog down on the cap and then they've got to then start using money from the future and bringing it, to the present. And then that shortens your future because that gives you less space, and you keep playing that credit card game. And at one point or another, it's going to catch up to you, like it has with the Dolphins several times over the years. So the question is, instead of tying yourself up to these hardline numbers when you tag somebody, I think they want to stay flexible. So that way, if they've got to make moves down the line and if things happen, they're able to move contracts without major penalties, without major setbacks, like what they inherited after the Ndamukong Suh mess and all the other contracts that after you cut Suh, you were paying, I believe it was $9 million 1 year and $13 million the other of dead cap money. Like, it was crazy numbers. So Agba, obviously, is one of those dudes that you want back, but it's kind of like a borderline thing, because you got to really think about this. As much as I like him, as much as you like him, We have to table our enthusiasm, our emotions for Agba and say, okay, if they're asking for 17, 18, 20 million dollars, if they're asking for high end 21, 22 million for a defense, I don't know what they're asking for, but they've got to be asking for a lot if they're headed into free agency. And if Rosenhaus is going to come out and say, yeah, my guy's not going to get tagged, so then there is some kind of a difference, right? They're not close. Because if they were close, you'd probably hear, yeah, we don't expect to get tagged, but, conversations are ongoing with the Dolphins. We're having great conversations. We're getting close on it. You didn't hear any of those kind of things. So that tells me that what Rosenhaus and Agba think of themselves is a lot higher than what the Dolphins are willing to go. So then the question is, what is plan B for the Miami Dolphins? What is plan C? Is it free agency? Is it the draft? Are they trying to find themselves? Have they targeted another Agba? Have they targeted another young player that has underachieved at defensive end and they think they can maximize more out of what they're doing like they did with Emmanuel Agba? I don't know. It's a great question. Is DeMarcus Lawrence getting cut from the Dallas Cowboys? Is that a guy they want instead? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what the plan is. I mean, if I would like to, if I knew the plan, I'd love to tell you, like, in a group where we all like keep it as a secret so we can keep it away from everybody else. Because you really don't want to tell their plans to everybody else either, because we are rooting for the Dolphins. We do want them to win. No, but all kidding aside, we don't know. We don't know what the plan is. And so that's why we can't overreact on it one way or the other. Let's wait, because maybe there's a lot of posturing going on and Agba ends up here. Maybe Miami feels they could get somebody better, and they do. Maybe they feel they can get somebody that they can get the same kind of production, but a lot less money. And maybe they do. And then maybe the one thing we don't want to see, they fail in replacing Agba, and it puts all the pressure on Jalen Phillips. Now, that, my friends, would be really, really bad. That's where in the end, we just can't say, what's going to happen with Emmanuel Agba. Will he stay? Will he sign somewhere else? Will he be offered so much money that you just could not give him that kind of cash? And hey, listen, Rosenhaus may have a deal pretty much the parameters of a deal already in place with another team and says, hey, man, we'll give you 21 million. And so they came into the Dolphins meeting and say, hey, we want 21 million. We think we have a market for him out there. And then that's when Chris Grier says, all right, appreciate it, man. Thank you for everything, but we just can't go that high. And now Drew Rosenhaus will send Emmanuel Agba to someplace for $21 million because he already knew. I don't know. Is Drew Rosenhaus taking the gamble, or is he just moving his player to a place that he already knows the end result here coming off the combine? Because that's where you see a lot of stuff happen. A lot of stuff is being discussed. Ideas, players, contracts, trades, extensions, cuts. What's it called? Trimming of salaries. All kinds of different scenarios are going on in the combine. So we will find out. Just don't overreact on the Agba thing until we really find out how they replaced him or if he ends up coming back. That's it. Dana says, sounds like Big O thinks Agba is on the move. I've never said that, Dana. You're reading into that. And now 3 weeks later, He stays, and then Dana says, "Oh, I thought you said he was going to stay," which I never said he was going to stay or he's going to leave. I don't know what he's going to do. I have no idea. Zero. No idea. I'm not saying he's staying or going. All I'm telling you is don't overreact. Not yet. Don't react, overreact, enthused, pissed off. Don't have any kind of emotion for it. We have to wait and see what the end result is going to be. And then we can say, I like what they did. I don't like what they did. I'll wait and see because I have no idea. I can't tell if it's going to be a good thing. Did you guys know that Emmanuel Agba would be as good as he was the last 2 years? No, none of us knew. You just knew that he kind of underachieved in Kansas City after being drafted by them. And then he came here and excelled and found his way. And hopefully this is what elevates him to, finish out his career on a positive note and have a great career. I hope so. I'm grateful for what I saw with Emmanuel Agba. I'm hoping I see more. So I would like to see the sacks and the batted passes. I'd like to see him get into double-digit sacks, but don't know what's going to happen. But right now, at the moment, the price must be high as hell. That's why he's not getting re-signed. What else? Morning, Big O. Have you been watching Mike McDaniel on all these shows? What a huge difference from Scareflow than McDaniel. Yeah, well, we've been talking about that for the last week with all the stuff with Rich Eisen and everything else that he was doing and all that. Yeah, the Rich Eisen test. And we talked about that last week, my brother. So I'm not sure if you were tuning in last week, but yeah, he's just a completely different dude than what you had. Like I said last week, he is wired much better to communicate. I know I hate repeating content, but like I said last week, he is wired much better to communicate with millennials and Generation Zs than most coaches that are older coaches or are ogre coaches like the guy we had. Because the guy we had wasn't old, but he was an ogre. He was like, junior Bill Belichick without any rings, just like McDaniel is and just like Matt Patricia is and all that. You know what I mean? So I talked about this last week. McDaniel has a way, when we explained last week, we was the Kaufman guy that tweeted out, what was it? Jeff Ireland asks a player if his mom's a prostitute. Brian Flores gets into it with Tua, like he doesn't like him, doesn't support him, all that stuff. And Mike McDaniel's at the combine, and he's interrogating a kid about his 90s hip-hop knowledge because he's intrigued that a young guy knows that much about 90s hip-hop. And you say, you say the word interrogate, right? But it's kind of a sarcastic way of saying, here's McDaniel, that all of a sudden, he's not talking football with the kid, he's talking 90s rap. But really, what is he doing? He's communicating and connecting with the young man. And so that's kind of the difference between people that are set in their ways and they don't change and they're not willing to change and they're not willing to accept the way things are going to be or the way things are changing, because it is. Our way of growing up is not the way these kids grow up. I cannot, even though I'm tough with my daughter, I can never be my dad or my mom with my daughter. Just like those of you that have, the classic upbringing, you could never do the same thing with your kids. And older coaches don't understand that. And that's where a guy like McDaniel might have a better grip on how to deal with these young people in a different way, in a different plateau, and connect with them. So, yes, I spoke about that last week. I guess you must be listening or reading something yesterday or today that ignited you again to do all this? Because that's kind of the feel I get when I get those kind of questions that you're reading or seeing as somewhere else, so you bring it here to the show. But yeah, no, we talked about that all last week with McDaniel, and so yeah, it's cool. It's not I like what I see from McDaniel. I've liked it from the moment I saw him. Now, in the end, he's got to win, dude. He's got to win. If he doesn't win, he's got no shot at surviving. That's all it is. We've all we've been through so much as a Dolphin fan base that patience is no longer a virtue. Patience is no longer a word we want to hear, we want or an action we want to deal with. It's it's about the now. It's about results. And we don't want to hear that you're a tough-minded guy or that you're a soft-minded guy or that you're a communicative guy or that you're a disciplinarian or that you're a cerebral approach or that you're a comic approach or that you're the raw guy. We don't give a shit anymore what kind of coach you are. Really, in the end, that's what it's all about. There's no more discipline than in Pat Riley. Whereas as an older player, they want you to lose weight every year, you know? So, so it's funny that it's Riley has had this whole thing kind of set up and he's been able to keep it going because there's a history and a reputation that goes with it, like Belichick. It's already established for 20 years. So if you want to join, you already know how this is all played out ahead of time. Everybody knows around the league. Oh, no, no, dude, if you're going to Miami, you got to work. No, they're not going to take your crap. If you go to the Yankees, no, you will not have hair on your face. You will not have beards and you will have short hair. You will, there are things that are established and you can still get away with them, right? But it's more about being a Sean McVay, right? It's more about finding a Cliff Kingsbury. It's more, look at Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's a fun, while he's an old coach and he has his level of discipline, but he's still kind of a fun guy. It's kind of, that's what they're trying to find. They're trying to find young Pete Carroll types. Pete Carroll's kind of ahead of his day in the way he coaches. That's kind of the guy they want in today's world. A little bit of that. The Mike Zimmer guy, it's not the guy they want anymore. Andy Reid, kind of a happy-go-lucky guy in a way. Sure, he's disciplined and set in his ways, but he's an easygoing guy. Andy Reid is not necessarily one of those guys, so it kind of fits more of what you're doing. Matt LaFleur, Shanahan, they're trying to find these young guys that are trying to reach you here. It can't be all about gassers, and it can't be all about screaming at the top of your lungs, and it can't be all about, calling you every name in the book, right? Because most of us older people, we can kind of handle it, and we yeah, whatever, and you forget about it, and you move on. Hell, I call myself names all the time. So, but younger people, it's a different world, man. It's a different world. And you've got to find the people that know how to connect with them. That's why teachers are magical human beings. They really are. Because they handle, 200 kids a day. Times change, generations change, and they get to see the generational change year after year. So then they have to then adjust along the way. Because I'm sure a teacher has to change some of their ways as time goes on. Maybe not right away, but it's something they go adjusting every 5 or 10 or 15 years because the kids change. I'm sure a teacher that's been teaching for 30 years will tell you the kid I taught 25 years ago is completely different than the kid I'm teaching now. And so the way I approached the kid 25 years ago is different than I got to approach him now. By the way, the rules also force you to approach people differently. Your workplace, your bosses have to approach you differently. So that's kind of what it is. Yeah, that world has changed. And you've got to change as an organization, and you've got to find the people that kind of fit. And I think that's what they're trying to do with Mike McDaniel. But in the end, got to win, man. It's still about the W. If you don't get the W, you got no shot, baby. You're not going to get anywhere. That's for damn sure. By the way, you're seeing Perdomo cigars right there. Have you been to the retail store, 5150 Northwest, 167th Street in Miami Gardens? On March 12th, which today's the 7th, so that means it's on Saturday, on the 12th, at Smokin' in Pompano Beach. They're going to have a Perdomo cigar event from 1 to 5 p.m., so get your asses down there. You can get some great Perdomo specials. You know what? I'm not sure. I think Nick might be there also. Let me check again today, but I'm pretty sure he might be there at Smokin' in Pompano Beach. March 12th, 1 to 5 p.m. Perdomo Cigars, 5150 Northwest 167th Street. That's where the retail store is for Perdomo Cigars. Go check it out because it's really cool. I mean, you get to go where millions of Perdomo cigars are at in the factory, and you've got this ginormous humidor with all kinds of Perdomos. All right? So you get to pick whatever you want. You might meet Nick Perdomo. You get to take a little selfie with Nick. It's a beautiful thing. And tell Nick I said hi. All right? We love Nick. Such a good dude. All right. What else do we have here? Big O, happy Monday, lighting your people up like Neil Rogers. Damn right. Damn right, we're going to light him up. Who asked about seeing the Batman? Oh, I saw the Batman yesterday, by the way. I did see the new Batman yesterday. I went with the yeah, you don't need to apologize. Just shut up. So I went with the wife and the daughter. And so that was the best part, that I was had the wife on one side, the daughter on the other. So that was cool. And we went to go see the new Batman. It was solid, I'm going to say. I'm not going to tell you it was great. You know, I still love the Michael Keaton one. And my favorite one, believe it or not, is the Christian Bale one, which I believe is the prequel to the Dark Knight one, the one that kind of tells the story of how Batman became Batman, all that kind of stuff. I thought it was, I love that Batman, actually. It's my favorite one. But I do love the Michael Keaton one. I'm not going to tell you anything about this movie because obviously it just came out. So I don't want to give anything away, but I thought it was solid. A little slow, not enough action, too long. It didn't need to be 3 hours long, to be quite honest. And the one thing I had the biggest problem with, it's minute, but I did have a problem with it. It's the worst Batmobile I have ever seen in my life. I mean, the 60s Batman had a cooler Batmobile. But I mean, if you're going to have you're Batman, you got to have a badass Batmobile. And that one just was it looked like unfinished. I'll leave it at that. Okay. But that's all right. It's called Batman Begins. Is that it, Alexander? Batman Begins? Okay. Yeah, Bale was one of the best series. Loved it, Orlando. Great rebooting off the Batman. They could have shaved off 20 minutes. Yeah, easily. They should have shaved off about a half hour from it. They didn't need it. It didn't need to be that long. Big O, on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you give the new Batman movie? I'm going to go 7.5. Okay? That's what I'll do. I'll go 7.5. Solid. Wasn't it's not a great movie, but it was solid. I enjoyed it. But what can I tell you? I'm not going to sit there and say, oh my God, it's amazing. Chimp Shock says, smoking is a pretty dope, man. Go buy. I'll trace and a Perdomo. Yeah, man. Smoking is a fantastic place to go enjoy a cigar. They do an excellent job at smoking. I ask you who else would ask. You don't have to pick a favorite, just enjoy. Yep. Very true. Very true. The Batmobile looks like a 60s, 70s Mustang Camaro based on the pics I've seen. It looks like it looks like an unfinished Camaro. It looks like an unfinished Camaro that is kind of like a stock car that maybe lost some of its panels. So you're seeing the cage, you know what I mean? It's like it just does not live up to a Batmobile. That's the one thing. If there's anything that I had a major problem with the movie, it was the Batmobile. The Batmobile was terrible. Terrible, 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 terrible. The worst Batmobile ever in the history of Batmobiles. Like, Wayne, didn't you have a couple bucks to finish it off? You know, come on, Brucey. Let's go. I'll just say for one semi-spoiler. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. Morning, Big O and family. Fishing and listening from Daytona this week. Ah, that is nice. I love Daytona. I think Daytona is such a cool town. Love to go stop by, hang out there. Daytona is a great place, man. Love Daytona. Good people there, too. What else do we have here? Michael Keaton, Batman, best ever. Yeah, it's my favorite. That one is one of my favorites. One of my favorites. I'll go to the first, that Christian Bale one, Batman Begins. That probably is my favorite movie of all the Batmans. I love that one, man. I've watched it several times. Big O, did you watch No Way Home? William Dafoe killed it as a Green Goblin without the mask. Yes. Oh, by the way, this Batman, greatest Penguin ever. Okay? Greatest Penguin ever. And the fact that it's Colin Farrell and you cannot tell it's Colin Farrell at all, the Penguin. I had no idea he was in it. My daughter's going through the IMDb. She goes, do you know who the Penguin is? I go, no. And she goes, it's Colin Farrell. And I'm like, what? Like, you can't tell it's Colin Farrell at all. He must have been in that makeup chair 6 hours every day to play that stinking role. But the makeup, the face that the way they designed his face, they didn't need makeup. They made it naturally look like he was penguinish. It was freaking awesome. While they had the worst Batmobile ever, they came up with the greatest looking penguin character ever. Listen to me. I'm not talking about the acting, which one's your favorite or whatever, whether it's Nicholson, whether it's the short guy, what's his name? DeVito. What? I don't care. Whoever you think is your favorite Penguin, whatever, fine. I'm just telling you, the look of the Penguin, they didn't have to cartoonish his ass. They made him look like he was a normal human being that was kind of deformed, that looked penguinish. And it was outstanding, dude. Like, awesome. And the fact, when I tell you it's Colin Farrell, you're like, what? Get out of here. You're out of your mind. That's what the IMDb says. Ray Grullon says, howdy, Orlando. This Batman movie is when Batman started, so everything is new, Batman included. The next one, they will step it up. Loved it. Okay, I get what you're saying, that it's kind of the early beginnings of Batman and him becoming Batman and all that kind of stuff. I get all that, but, bro, he's still a billionaire. Like, finish the damn car, bro. Ray, you got to have a better-looking Batmobile than that, man. You got to. But I will say the Penguin was, wow. Wow. I mean, wow. Okay? All right? My favorite all-time movie is The Pest by John Leguizamo. The character was amazing. Nope, no cartoonish. Had a slight Scarface vibe, very slight. Yeah, no, it was very Scarface. They got Capone, Scarface, and the Penguin all in one, is what they did, right? Because there's a little Capone in him too. It's Capone, Scarface, and the Penguin, and nothing looks like Colin Farrell. At no point are you ever thinking Colin Farrell. Never. Not 1 second. Bale's Batmobile was the greatest, hands down. Listen, man, all Batmobiles are better than the one in this one. Okay? All of them. Like, you guys created better Batmobiles in your home. Okay? You back when you were a kid and you got a shopping cart and then you started putting and you tried to make it your own Batmobile, you probably created it and it was nicer than the one that they had in the movie yesterday. It was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Isn't the Batmobile bulletproof? Oh, dude, this one's better than bulletproof. Some of the things it did. Actually. Bullets is its least of its problems. I mean, that thing, you know. Johnny Ron says, big corporate time stealing weasel here. I have to names for you to look at. Anderson and Mama, both big middle linebackers in this draft. Yes, I know. Yeah. Big O, have you heard the rumor of Keaton reprising his role? Well, he wanted to. But they didn't let him in this movie. He wanted to be in this movie. I know that because he wanted to do it before he got old. Yeah, John Turturro. Yeah, he was good. Yeah, he was good. No, it was a solid movie. It's a solid movie. I'm not going to tell you, oh my God, it's the greatest movie of all time and the greatest Batman of all time. I'm not going to tell you that. But I'm not also going to tell you, oh my God, it was terrible. It's unwatchable. The only thing unwatchable is the Batmobile. It's the only thing that's unwatchable. The Batmobile. By the way, what's his name? Lenny Kravitz's daughter is in it. She's cute too. So there you go. I'm sure there'll be the Catwoman comparisons too, right? Hallie and Pfeiffer and her and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I got you. The chick was hot. That's Lenny Kravitz's daughter. Zoe Kravitz, I think is her name, if I'm correct. That's Lenny Kravitz's daughter. Yeah. Not a movie you can watch twice. You know, Eric, I was gonna disagree with you, but then I thought about the 3 hours. That's the only thing that bothers me. It's the 3 hours too. Just a little too long. But I you know what? I could watch it again. I probably will once it comes on to, you know, the HBOs and all that crap. Once it gets there, I will watch it again. I won't watch it again in a theater. I'm not paying theater money to go see it again. And you know, I got lucky yesterday too. Because we went at 1:00 on a Sunday. And I was still fearful that the place would be packed, and it was not packed. And I was really happy. We did have a pain in the ass baby a couple of rows back. That's why I don't go to theaters much anymore. And especially you don't want to go on the opening weeks because it's just a madhouse and people are always talking and crap, and it's bothersome. But we did have a baby that was a little bit, but the mother finally got up and walked out, and after a couple people are like, shh, 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 shh. You hear that, right? And it like gets to a point like, hey, you can't control your kid, right? So, maybe you want to take him outside. I get it. It's expensive, but your dumbass brought him, right? So get your ass out of here and bite the bullet, bro. Bite the bullet. Walk the kid outside, go to the hallway, calm the kid down, walk he or she around the hallway, maybe tire him on a little bit. You missed the movie? That's your effing fault. You brought a baby to the movie. Look, I get it when you get on a plane. You got no choice. We're 35,000 feet in the air. We're not going anywhere. So if the kid starts crying, yes, we lose. But in a theater, you had a choice. A babysitter or don't go. So you got to know your kid, man. Know your kid. If your kid's a royal pain in the ass, then just, you know what I'm saying? Act accordingly. Man, my kid's a pain in the ass. No, it'll never shut up. I can't go to the theater. And that's it. And don't go to the theater. Save yourself the money. Buy a little V chain with that money. Much more productive anyway. Stay at home and wait till the baby gets a little older and you'll watch it at home. And that's it. I mean, if your baby can't shut up, don't bring him somewhere where it's going to be a pain in the ass to everybody else. That's all. It's pretty simple. That I never understand with some parents. So your kid can't behave and you can't control your kid, so you're going to make the rest of us suffer. What the hell is that, dude? No wonder you suck as a parent. And has a deal for $25 a month. You get to see 3 movies per week, and you get discounts on food and drinks. Where's that at? You should tell that to my wife and my daughter. Big O dropped 100 on a movie. Well, let's see. It was 4 of us, and then we ate at BurgerFi and Chipotle. Pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah. Pretty close. Definitely. I would say. Big O Batman in April 19th, HBO Max. I will wait till then. 3 hours in my sofa and with my beer, burger, and ice cream, and no kids. There you go, Ricardo. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But I mean, if your kid is one of those kids, and you know who they are. That's all. Some of us have kids that'll behave, and some of us have kids that are a little bit, anxious. And they're not controllable, and they don't like to stay still, and they don't keep their mouths shut. You know which kids those are. Don't bring them to movie theaters. Don't be rude. And that's what you are as a parent. You're rude. You're insensitive. That's the way I have to look at you. You know what your kid is. So if your kid is not going to shut up, then bite the bullet, bro. Don't make us suffer. AMC, my bad. Oh, so AMC does that. I got to tell my wife and my daughter. Now, let me ask you something, Alexander. So if you pay for 3 for $25, do you have to watch all 3 in a week or in a month? Do you have an allotted amount of time, or is it a limited amount of time? That's the question I have for you, sir. 3 for $25. That's a good deal, actually, for people like my wife and my daughter that they like to go to the movies a lot. Because we're walking on and she's like, well, I want to see that and I want to see that and I want to see that. And I'm like, yeah, you'll see that. You'll see that. You'll see that on your own. Because I ain't coming. I rarely go to the movies. It takes a superhero 007, Star Wars. It has to be something, kind of special for me to really come out to. I don't go to theaters just to go to theaters. My wife and my daughter, they go to theaters just to go to theaters. And they love to watch all kinds. AMC 3 is in a week. Okay. 9 movies a month. Holy, what are you guys, Siskel and Ebert now? Damn. I had enough suffering watching Flow. I do not need to suffer at the cinema. Gotti4453 says, got my first order of Nature B. Been taking it a week now, and notice a big difference. Totally love it. Thank you, Big O. You rock, brother. Thank you, Gotti. Appreciate it. Not only, and let's talk a little bit about Nature B since you mentioned it. Go to the website natureb.com. Use our code Big O, and you will get free shipping. All right, 30-day supply, 60-day supply, 90-day supply, 1 year, 10 years, 15 years, however you want, whatever amount of pollen that you want to get. And by the way, the beauty of pure pollen, it's all natural. It comes from clean, green New Zealand. It's made right there in New Zealand. Mother Nature makes it, baby, coming right out of the ground. It's great for you. It's great for the kids. That's the beauty also of it. And it's all natural. You know how good Nature B is? You can break the capsule up and pour the powder right into your mouth. That's it. Try doing that with other things. You'll have that bitter beer face, and you'll be all like, So use our code right there. You see it, Big O. 1 month supply, 60-day supply, 90-day supply, whatever you want. And by the way, not only can you get the pollen, okay, you can also get, you got to try the soaps. Okay? The Nature B soaps. Oh, they smell so good, man. You'll get compliments. People say, hey, you smell nice, and you didn't put on any cologne, and it's this. And people go, wow, the soap? Yeah, man. Soap is good. I used the lip balm when I was in New York. Can't use it here because I rarely ever need lip balm, but they've got all kinds of products there at Nature B. You can check it out. My wife loves the wrinkle cream. Check it out for yourself. Go to the website, natureb.com. If you order any of the plant pollen, and it's great for you, the kids, everybody, boost your immune system. Your hair will grow longer and stronger. Your nails will grow faster and stronger. For you ladies out there, you want your nails to grow fast, take Nature B. You will love the results. You're going to love it, and boost that immune system. That's why I rarely ever have a cold, and I'm really grateful for Nature B for the last 20 years. All right, so check it out, natureb.com. Check out the website. Use my code Big O for free shipping on the plant pollen. Hour number 2 is next.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane, Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. South Florida's premier law enforcement agency is now hiring individuals like you. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is now accepting applications for non-certified and certified police officer positions. Minimum requirements and qualifications can be found at flpdjobs.com. That's flpdjobs.com. Are you ready? The city of Fort Lauderdale is an equal opportunity employer.
Oh, great. You got a doorbell camera. Now you got a front row seat to your house getting robbed. No. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Get out of my house!
Ooh, Mom's jewelry. There goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, a free doorbell camera.
Free?
One that'll actually work for you. It's not total security unless it's the Sloman Shield. Call 1-800-ALARM-NATE.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
The Big O Radio Show is brought to you by HialeahParkCasino.com. Enjoy simulcast racing, dining, a magnificent poker room, and a casino with the most popular machines on the market. OKCoin.com. Download the app on iOS, Google Play, or Windows. OKCoin.com with over 50 different coins and incredible staking rewards. Pallet Rack City. There's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547.
The Go Radio Show originates from the OK Coin Studios. Invest a little time and save big. Just set the recurring buy and pay, zero transaction fee after your first purchase. The Big O Radio Show is mastered by executive producer Sean Stanley from the OK Coin Studios. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Hour number 2 is on the air, baby. Hope you all are doing well out there. Hope you're hanging in there on a beautiful Monday. Love it. Love it. Love it on a beautiful Monday. What else do we have here going on? We got a bunch of things to talk about. By the way, at 11:30, it'll be Alan Poupart. At noon, it'll be Ira Winderman. At 12:30, it'll be Marcel Louis Jacques. So a couple of what's it called? Guests lining up for us later on the program on the second half of the show. So we'll have a little fun with them. What else do we have here? Remember, you can get in on the Welt and Rayom text line, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. If you want to get in on the program, you can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Follow us there on Twitter. And on you can email us at Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. That's Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Bitcoin climbing again up to 39,726. See what happens with everything going on with the war and everything else going on. And we have the ups and the downs. I know that like people that have been in crypto for a long time and they got Bitcoin really cheap, they don't want to see these kind of things. They want to see it continue to climb. But to me, man, if it could come down to, the 30, 33 area that people talked about, I don't mind scooping up more if they want to do that. I just want to get to the point where I could get at least one complete Bitcoin, and people talk about it going all the way down to 20 and things like that. And, who knows? I doubt it'll ever happen. I doubt it'll get to 30, but man, would I love it. It would be absolutely fantastic. Eventually, this is only going to go in one direction. And I think I saw, was it Kenshawn or something saying, well, the volatility and that Russia may use it as their currency. And see, here's the problem with all of that. If Russia uses it as their currency, that won't hurt Bitcoin. That will actually help it. It will explode because other countries are going to end up using it as their currency because they have no currency. But in the end, countries like Russia and the United States and the United Kingdom and a bunch of others, they don't want Bitcoin to become their currency because they want to control the currency and control you. That's the idea of decentralized financing. It doesn't allow the governments to control you. It puts you in the driver's seat. That's what people don't understand. So it'll just end up strengthening it even more. It's only a matter of time. The problem is the short-sighted, which is a lot of you out there that don't understand anything about this, or in the media, you're all worried about the volatility of the last week or the last month or the last 6 months. Those of us that really truly understand this, we're not worried about that because we don't care about short-term volatility because we know long-term where it's going to be. And it's going to be on top of the world when it's all said and done because it's moved faster than any other asset ever. And the tokenomics of it, the everything that comes with it, from hash rate to it being completely oversold. Right now, exchanges are at an all-time low. More than 60, I think it's like 64% of Bitcoin has not moved in over a year. That means everyone that's in it is like keeping it, not really. So it's only a matter of time. That's all. It's a matter of time of the world getting educated, the world getting adjusted, and then the world using it on a consistent basis. It's the inevitable. It will happen. But those of you that worry about what happened this week or next month or last month or all that, those of us that are in it long term, look, Uber Beaner put ADA. You know what I keep doing? I keep buying more ADA. You want to give me ADA in the 80-cent range? High 70s, 90s? Let's go. I'm taking it. And I'm going to stake it. I'm going to take it and I'm going to stake it. Take it and stake it. Take it and stake it. Why? Because that ecosystem is probably the best ecosystem in all of crypto. But the fact that it hasn't started moving yet, people don't understand. But the second it starts to really be completely in use, because Charles has been very deliberate about all of this. That's why his company makes less mistakes usually than everybody else. But because we're in a world of no patience, people run out of patience with ADA. Those of us that understand it, we just say, good, you got no patience, you're selling, good. Let me go get more cheap ADA and I'll stake it and I'll wait. And in a couple of years from now, I'm going to be laughing at your ass because I got it for 80 cents and 90 cents and 70 cents, and it's going to be up at 10 and 12 and $14. But that's fine. Let them do it. Let them do it. Meanwhile, during all of this, it's not negativity. It's consolidation. That's what people like us understand and look at this situation. And we say, this isn't a volatile state. This is an opportunity to get your Bitcoin, to get Ethereum, to load up on Polkadot, to get more Avalanche, to grab some VeChain, to do so, get some more Cardano. That's what this is all about. But if you get caught in the FUD and the volatility of the short term, it clouds your judgment and you don't understand that it's not about the now. It's about 2024 and 25 and 26 and 27 when you're laughing your ass off because you were patient and you stuck with it. I didn't plan on it, but there you go. That's your OK Coin Crypto Corner. BTC likely hitting 100K by year and playing the odds if you can. That's fine. Whether it hits it by the end of the year or by the end of 2024, that's fine with me. I'm not worried about it. I think it'll be higher than that, but whatever. By the end of 2024, I think that thing will be higher than 100K, but I'm not worried about it. I know where it's going, and it's going way up. All right. People should worry about countries' currencies volatility, not crypto. Exactly. Well, but they should, and they shouldn't, Rob, because they now have a better option. See what I'm saying? Like El Salvador, the president understood they can't do what's right for their people, so he did what's right for his people. He turned them over into Bitcoin. Super smart on his part, dude. And they keep buying the dip. They're one of the countries that is going to be way ahead of others because of what they've done with Bitcoin. Let's see. Toca Life Fun. Toca Life, huh? Is that like what are you touching? Is the question. That's fun. Because there's lots of things in life you can touch that are fun. But thank you, by the way, for a little love in the super chat there. Touching life fun. Let's see, what else do we have? Big O Keaton will be in the new Flash movie. Also, the 3 hours go by and you honestly don't think about the last 20 minutes, but the Batmobile was Beast 100. This was year 2 of Bruce being Batman. Well, you and I are going to disagree. One, it did not go by fast. You feel the 3 hours. So it's too long. I disagree with you on that. And the Batmobile was not beastly. The Batmobile was incredibly weak, but we'll disagree on that one. Let's see. It's not just about the money you make or lose in crypto. It's the friends you make along the journey. Well, I don't know. Friends or, I don't know, or people that speak your language. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really what it is. Because the ones that don't know anything whatsoever, it's like T-Bone. Crypto going to be worth zilch one day. You see? Like, people like that, like they have no idea. They just spew ignorance and they talk stupid shit and they don't know anything. You know what I mean? T-Bone, you might be a really nice guy, but you don't know. You're talking about crypto and you know nothing about it. Like nothing. So you take a shot at something you know nothing about. That's called ignorance, my brother. If at least you could take a shot and explain while it's going to be worth zero, but you can't. Do you know why? You first have to understand it to then try to figure out the loophole and the problem with it and then explain it to somebody. But you're not going to be able to do that, T-Bone, because you know nothing about crypto. So how would you know where it's being affected, right? So, it's gold hasn't moved in 10 years. Okay? It literally has not moved. In fact, in 12 years, it's gone down slightly. In 12 years. And in 12 years, crypto has gone up like 800,000%. So, I mean, dude, whatever you want, bro. It's all good, man. It's all good. Learn about it first, understand it, and then maybe you can explain to me why it isn't going to work, and then maybe I can believe you. But those of you that crypto is what is it? A Ponzi scheme. It's not real. It's that's what people say. Like T-Bone, they just throw crap out there. They know nothing about it. They can't have an intelligent conversation. They don't know it, so they can't explain it, and they can't then also find any defects in it. Because you first have to understand something to say, well, it's not going to work because of this, this, and this, right? But you first have to understand what you're talking about. But because you don't understand it and have complete ignorance about it, you just throw that out there. It's freaking awesome. Tony says, I could use an Edge energy drink right about now. Well, hey, we got the link below. Tony, what are you doing, bro? myedgedrink.com. That's the link right there, myedgedrink.com. Order it. It'll come right to your house. Man, that is so good. I had one on Saturday while I was on the show. Then I got back home. There we go. I had another one on Saturday night. No, 2 on Saturday night, because John brought me a 12-pack. And then I had one yesterday again when I got back from the movies. So good, man. So good. And you drink them so fast. Let's see. Big O, can you touch on proof of work or fork problems? Yes, Sean. What do you got going? Oh, the fridge. The Edge fridge. There it is. There you go. The Edge fridge. How about that? Locked and loaded all the time. There you go. You're awesome. You're awesome. My fridge is there on the side, and it's got my Edge too. I can do the same thing. Can't put it on camera. The headphones stretch out. There is he. You're not the only one, Sean, that can reach for an Edge. Okay.
I'm the only one that can do it on camera. Though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But to stick that refrigerator back there would be a little harder. Plus, yours is a smaller type. That's the cooler one. I have a bigger one right there. There's a little Edge for you. God, it's so good and smooth. I don't know what the secret is, how he did it. I have no idea how he did that. Bro, if you want me to get into proof of work and proof of stake, and when we start talking about parachains and everything else, that would be very boring stuff here. I can't get into that right now, dude. I can't tell you why Polkadot, I think, with parachains is going to work. And I can't tell you where proof of stake and proof of work and why people are switching more, you know what I'm saying, to proof of stake from proof of work and all of that. That is ultimately really boring stuff to get into. You know what I'm saying? So I can't do that now, man. That's just that I would lose everybody at that point. You know, I do enough already to try to educate you all with a little crypto talk. Just started my recurring purchases for Cardano. Should have done it a while ago, but better late than never. Amen. And plus, right now, the deals in Cardano are sick. You're getting them in the 80 and 90 cent range. Oh, my God. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Where do I stake Bitcoin? On Crow, on crypto.com. I get 6.5%. That's where I stake it. I'm hoping OKCoin adds it because OKCoin, when they add it, they'll probably, they have great rates, man. Dude, I've been getting my Polygon on OKCoin at 21.5%. That is sick. Sick. It's been at 15.5 locked in mostly on average, but it's been up at 21 the last couple of weeks. Avalanche too. I mean, there's some staking opportunities in OKCoin that's what people don't understand, that when it goes sideways, you're still making money. Can you talk about the space-time continuum? That's next. All right, so we got some news here on Deshaun Watson. This is interesting. My buddy Aaron Wilson, he works for Pro Football Network, lives out in Houston, been covering the NFL, and, you know, I brought him on several times, a friend of the show. So Aaron, right, pretty cool story. So apparently, Deshaun Watson obviously has got all these legal issues. So apparently the Washington Commanders and the Carolina Panthers are expected to remain interested in adding Watson. The Panthers are interested on adding everybody until they find somebody. And according to Aaron Wilson, the Eagles general manager Howie Roseman has also done his homework on Watson, even sending an investigator to Houston to look into the situation and reach out to Rusty Hardin, Watson's attorney. Now, he's still facing 22 civil counts of sexual misconduct and sexual assault, according to Hardin and the Harris County District Attorney, and it will be likely decided by April 1st whether Watson will be charged criminally. So we still have that to wait until April 1st. When asked if Watson would remain on the roster next season, Texas coach Lovie Smith stated that he has no idea what the former first-round pick status will be and does think that he thinks both parties will eventually benefit from this situation. Excellent football players need to be playing somewhere in the NFL, Smith said Wednesday at the NFL Combine. Hopefully that will happen, and if it's not with us, it's somewhere else. And I'm sure as I see this situation, both of us eventually are going to benefit from the situation. I just can't wait for that to be sped up a little bit. So obviously Lovie is talking about the compensation that they're going to get for Watson, which of course will help the Texans if they make the right picks. So here's the thing. You look at everything going on with this situation, okay? You've got to be patient if you're Carolina or any of these teams. This has nothing to do with the Miami Dolphins, okay? Miami Dolphins are not in this. Chris Greer has put the kibosh on all of it. But it shows you what a mess this is, because you still have to wait till April 1st to find out about if he's going to be criminally charged. It also shows you how misinformed so many in the media were. Look, I don't care about fans. Fans can say whatever they want. They're not supposed to know all the stuff. But you think about some of these media members that were also, and they're also attorneys. And they thought this thing was going to be resolved 2 weeks before last season started. They thought it was going to be resolved then again before the trading deadline, and it hasn't. And we're watching it, and as you're reading by Aaron Wilson, they still could criminally charge him on April 1st. So all of this was hanging in the balance, and meanwhile, people were talking crap, thinking that this was going to end shortly. This is a mess. They're not even going to be able to get even in the draft, because what if he's once he's criminally charged in April, if he is, holy crap, then that really makes this thing drag on forever. That'll be the key for all these teams and Deshaun Watson. If he's not criminally charged, then at least you can move on with the civil cases and find a way to either settle or pay off or whatever it is so you can move on with your life, like many have in the past. But it shows you how misinformed the media was, all right, throughout this entire process, that they thought this was going to be over months ago before the last season started. And you find out about all this stuff. Hell, in Philadelphia even sends an investigator. That's crazy. All right, let's take a very quick break, and let's get ready for the man, the myth, the legend. That is Alan Poupart and our Sports Grill Miami Dolphins report.
Let's get ready to talk Dolphins football. It's the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Report with Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart. With locations throughout South Florida, Sports Grill is the home of the special grilled wings. Check out our sponsored locations in Miami on Bird Road and 114th and in Miami Lakes in the Royal Oaks Plaza. Here's Miami Dolphins insider Alan Poupart.
Montreal Expos hat, and he is ready to go. How you feeling today?
I'm good. No complaints.
No?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
What'd you think about the Emmanuel Ogbah stuff coming on and what's it called? The agent coming out saying he is not going to get tagged. So how do you read into it, and / what have you heard?
Well, I don't like it. Now, is it posturing, trying to put public opinion pressure on the Dolphins? Don't know. Probably not. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. I mean, the dude's going to get paid in free agency, and if you're letting him walk, then you create a massive hole on the defensive line that you're going to have to address. And at 29, are you going to get anybody who's going to come in and have the kind of immediate impact that Agba had the last 2 years? No. Then you're going to go out and get a free agent where you're going to have to pay a lot for? No. I mean, or maybe, but then what's the point? You know what you have in Agba. The guy's been really, really good by all accounts. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I just said, I don't get it. I honestly don't get it why this guy wasn't the priority. Now, of course, if Drew's making outrageous contract demands, you can't just give the guy whatever he wants. But I think this is a guy who should have been prioritized, and this is what happens when, and maybe instead of extending Jerome Baker and Jason Sanders last year, and I like Baker, I think he's a very good player. I don't think he's nearly as much of an impact player on this defense as Agba is.
Amen.
And then Jason Sanders extending a kicker before a defensive end who was coming off a really good year. Certainly questioned.
I wouldn't have paid Agba last year either, not after 1 year. I needed to see it again. Now's when you pay him. But let me run this by you, because obviously we've been doing this for a long time. Mm-hmm. I kind of get the feeling that Drew got some positive feedback about Agba for free agency, and he probably gave the Dolphins a really high number. And that's probably where, and if there's one thing that, I talked about this in the first hour with Chris. Chris hasn't been really the guy that is like bending over backwards immediately to give people money and extensions and picks and all. It needs to be negotiated normally. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things that he's been very patient in all of his kind of dealings. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised that he's also doing it again this way too, right?
Yeah. And then also Chris kind of told us when he met with 11 of us South Florida writers in Indy in a little media session that kind of suggested they'd had negotiations throughout the season. So to me, no, I'm with you. I wouldn't have extended him necessarily last off season, but once, let's say, through the halfway point of the season, I would tell you, like, even though his sack numbers really picked up in the second half of the season, he was still a factor in terms of applying pressure in the first half of the season, to the point where it's like, okay, well, this guy's not a fluke. And let's remember, this guy's a former second-round pick, and at the very top of the second round. So this was it's not a guy who came in and suddenly out of the blue, oh, look at this, he can play. So there was always something there, and the Dolphins unlocked it. So I think by the middle of last year, this is where, to me, the push should have been made. And based on, again, what Chris Greer told us in Indy, they did start having conversations during the season. Nothing materialized. And now we find ourselves at this particular spot. And the point you make is a very good one, that Drew is realizing, there's going to be a very healthy market for Agba services in free agency. So there's no point in, taking a discount or taking less than he might actually get. So this is going to be a tricky one, but to me,
and remember, we also have to look at this. These 2 years took away a window of him possibly getting 2 contracts. So he's at a point now where this is his only big contract that he's going to sign, because he had his second round contract that he lived through, and then he signed a deal here that it was like $7 million per season, which was very cheap. Bargain. So he didn't make a ton of money here. And so this is his only shot at a big deal. So he might be willing to sign anywhere that's willing to give him the most amount of money, and he won't care about where he's signing, where some guys that are already coming off big deals or may have another big deal down the line may kind of say, I like this one better than the other place, and I know I'm going to make a little less money, but I like this area better. So this is kind of a catch-22 here. And here's the flip side to all of this. This is considered a pretty good draft for defensive ends, actually.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And there are some guys in free agency. So the question is, what plans do they have? And that's kind of what I talked about in the first hour, Alan, that if they're doing this also, they must also have a plan themselves of how they're going to replace him if they can't re-sign him at their number.
No question. And here's another point that we need to make about Agba is some players, really want to stay with the Dolphins because they have some sort of attachment. And a lot of times it's either whether they're from the area or this has been their team. Well, this is Agba's third team. He was drafted by Cleveland, then was traded to KC, then signed with the Dolphins. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's from Texas, maybe. So it's not like he's got some sort of sentimental attachment to the Dolphins. He wants to get paid. He wants his money. And who's to blame him? Because he was injured in KC his last year there, so he had to take like a cheaper deal with the Dolphins, who got him like I said, bargain. Talk about a bargain. 2 years, $15 million. With the production they got from him. So can't blame the dude. And without question, I don't think it would be stupid to think that the Dolphins, put all their stock in, we're going to re-sign Agba, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my Lord, what are we going to do now? He's not coming back. Obviously they have thought about this possibility. But to me, they'll replace him if he leaves. Except I know what the Dolphins have in Agba, and I like what the Dolphins have in Agba. To me, like I said, he's been easily the second best defensive player on this team the last 2 years behind X.
All right. So I'm sure you've done your homework. If Agba's not back, are there any free agents out there that you might find interesting that they could replace? Is there an underperforming free agent out there that they might be targeting like they did with Agba? I also thought about this because obviously my cynical mind works this way. But, Chris Greer and let's say David Cantor, they're kind of sitting down and talking. And they're trying to read. Obviously, it looks like something's going on with the X deal, right? Something looks like there's, right? So there's a little talk going on there, right? Maybe he also says, hey, I hear DeMarcus Lawrence is going to get cut. Isn't that your guy too, Mr. Cantor? So, things like that happen. So I'm just wondering, anybody out there any names that you might be throwing at us that you might say, well, if Agba doesn't come back, who else is out there?
Yeah. No, actually you got me because I was full combine mode last week.
Understandable.
I got back late Saturday night. Yesterday was a chill day. So come back to me with this one on Thursday and I'll do some research use of all
right, Mr. Combine guy. Any defensive ends that you think the Dolphins could target in the first couple of rounds?
Kayvon Thibodeau. No, he's not going to be there. I'm joking.
No,
how's that, right?
No shot. Unless we could get Chris Dabata, like bury some, nail him with some kind of a fake drug test or some fake.
There you go.
And then a la Marino, he drops to 29. That kind of stuff. We got a tackle that had a bong mask, dropped to 13.
You remember him well.
Think about that, man. We've had a couple of things that have happened to a couple players, and we kept one. The other one, unfortunately, we traded, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
At least we kept one. Do we have any other ones like that? Did anybody else have a rumor or an actual thing happen to him, and then we ended up getting him later outside of Marino and Tunsil? I don't know if I remember anybody else.
Man, that's a good question. Man, yeah. Catching me on a bad day. My man is right here. No, the top guys are all going to be gone. That's the thing is a lot of guys like, the Johnson from Florida State's a hell of a player, but he's going to be gone. Thibodeau, very obviously. Hutchinson, very obviously. God bless it. No, my mind is fried. I'm kind of semi-useless right now. Trying to think here.
Well, for Thursday, you better be ready for some.
If the Dolphins don't wind up tagging or re-signing Agba, I will be prepared and I will have done my research because then it becomes obviously very significant. I've been kind of waiting until tag day, which also is a day where
I want to hear about Drake Jackson and Cameron Thomas and guys that are going to go in the latter part of the first round, early second round, guys like that. I want to hear about some of these cats and what you think about some of those guys later on in the draft. Logan Hall from Houston. Although I think size might be an issue with him, but some of those guys, there's some, because this is supposedly a pretty deep defensive end draft. Like there's supposed to be guys that are going to drop even into the second round and third rounds that you might be able to get a guy that might be a nice little project.
Yeah, all the way around. It's supposed to. It's one of those drafts again where it's kind of lacking in like high end, maybe high end players, but like it's very deep into the second and third round, which is good for the Dolphins since they're at 29 instead of picking 5th or 6th, which is where they were the last 2 years.
Oh, well, let's see. We will find out on the defensive side. All right, how aggressive do you expect them to be in free agency? Because this is not a rebuild.
Mm-mm.
This is a retool of the offense. So how aggressive will they be to fix the side of Mike McDaniel's expertise?
I think they will be aggressive. I'm not sure they're going to go for like the monster guys like they did last year. Like they avoided, like if you looked at the wide receivers last year, was Kenny Galladay was one of the big names. And there was another big name who escapes me. Like I said, I must be still in combine mode, like in Indy time or whatever. But Kenny Galladay was one of those guys where everybody was going, the Dolphins got to get him. He's a wide receiver they need. And they wound up going a different route, which obviously didn't pan out with Will Fuller. But I would expect more like I would expect them to be aggressive in free agency because they have all this cap space. They do have to take
Amari Cooper
in-house.
Amari Cooper, if he's
Again,
released.
Yeah, no, I wrote that absolutely somebody the Dolphins need to consider. There are 4 veterans who are either going to be released or traded, and it's Amari Cooper, Cole Beasley, Calvin Ridley, and Jarvis Landry. And there's some merit to all 4 of those. And with
Ridley's going to be released
or traded? No, traded.
Oh, okay. No, I would never do that. Okay,
correct.
Yeah,
but what was I going to say? No,
you're like me, right?
Sorry,
you don't trade a receiver. You don't trade for a receiver, right?
No, I don't. There's too many out there. There's too many available out there. I think that's a bad use of draft capital. But with Amari Cooper and with all those guys, if they get on the market, obviously comes down to like Amari Cooper, and because I wrote that the Dolphins absolutely should consider him. There are like connections all over the place beyond the fact that he played at Miami Northwestern High. And then somebody replies to me, "Well, not at $20 million." Well, duh, no, but he's not getting $20 million. If the Cowboys release him because they don't want to pay him $20 million. So it depends. Again, it's the same thing with Agba. It's great to want all these players, and it's a good idea to want to bring in all those kinds of players at the right price. What's that right price for Amari Cooper? That's a good question. They paid Will Fuller $10 million last year for 1 year, didn't pan out. What's the right price? $14 million? And then I had somebody, by the way, let's destroy the notion that he's injury prone. The guy's missed 5 games in 7 NFL seasons.
Who's that? Who we talking about?
Amari Cooper. I've seen that online a couple of places.
No, he's had a couple of injuries, but he's not. He's
missed 5 games in 7 seasons. So
he's not Devontae Parker.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So, but yeah. No, but let me tell you, he is such an exceptional route runner.
He is.
That I think when you have that kind of precision to your game, and when you have a precision type quarterback, I think it's a marriage made in heaven, because when you run that 12-yard out or 15-yard out and you run it every time perfectly and you throw it every time perfectly, and that magic rolls over to the game. You know, it doesn't roll over with a Des Bryant or a Chad Johnson who's going to ad lib out there. Correct. And the quarterback has to hesitate a little bit and wait to see when the break is coming sometimes. But when you have guys like Amari Cooper, you know, those kind of cats that they're precision route runners and they know how to – that's a gift for a guy like Tua, I think, personally.
The dude gets open. I remember the game the Dolphins played against them in 2019.
He played.
He made X look bad on a couple of double moves, and X is a damn good corner. Even though in that 2019 season he didn't play particularly well until he went on IR, but he made him look bad in that 3rd game of the season. Now there's some minor issues. He'll drop a pass here or there, but tell you what, he'll catch a lot of passes too, and he will get open. So,
Oh yeah, no, I love
the right
Cooper.
price. I like the move.
Terrific player. Yeah, I'm with you there. Let me ask you something, because it is the reality of it. And so I'm wondering if there's any of this feel for it in the office, in the front office. Okay. So we're watching that, X did not play well in the first half and then played really well in the second half. Agba, you mentioned it earlier, didn't really, his sacks didn't pick up to the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance that sometimes the front office might also be looking that, hey, the second half, because you also fired your coach that went 7-1. And so we think about this, we start thinking, did they not put a lot of weight in the second half because they didn't play? They had the easy schedule in the second half. And in the first half was the hard schedule. And that's where this team struggled. And players, even your elite players individually, also struggled. Is there any chance that this front office, because it's kind of consistent, they didn't put a lot of weight on what happened in the second half of the season?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there could be some merit to that, except go by track record. I mean, they both Agba and X played really well in 2020 also. And as I mentioned with Agba, he wasn't getting the sacks, but he was getting around.
Oh, he was there. He was there, dude.
Because he's always like a step later, whatever. And he was the only one up front who was getting any.
We talk about it every week that I talked about it with you. I said I felt terrible for Agba because he's right there. You know what I mean? But again, it's kind of close but no cigar. It's one of those kind of deals. And the only reason I bring it up to you, it's because they also fired the coach. So it was kind of like the stamp of you guys didn't impress us with 7-1. Why? Because this, and this. What you screwed us up in is the beginning of the season. Those are the games you had to win to put yourself over the top. And because we knew you had the easier schedule in the back half, that kind of. I'm just wondering if they're, measuring people by that first half more than the second half. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. And I don't think for a millisecond they fired the coach on
lots of other
performance
things.
or record. It's strictly like inner workings, relationship issues. So I think the fact that they started 1-7, I don't think that's what led to his dismissal. No, again, and X also, I would make the argument he had a couple of bad games. All his bad games pretty much were early in the year. I'm not sure. I mean, let's look at the opener, for example. Dolphins won that game because of X made that huge play. And he had a couple of bad games, but I don't know that he was bad the entire first half. He just became lights out in the second half of the season. So I'm not sure. I don't think that would be a major factor involved here. I think the issue with Agba, I think it's purely financial considerations that right now I'm going to guess Drew is asking for a whole lot more at this point than the Dolphins are willing to pay. And at some point, something's going to have to give. Either the Dolphins are going to have to bite the bullet and say, we can't afford to lose him, or maybe they tell Drew, listen, go see what he can get on the market, come back to us, and we'll see if we match it. That's left to play out.
What'd you think of also Gesicki getting no tag? Although he's headed not yet, but he's headed to his honeymoon and he's got the Dolphin hat on. So he's been listen, on his behalf, he's always been very pro Dolphins. So we have to give him that he's never, that's why I say there must be some movement on X, because we had some, stuff being thrown around last year. He was even crushing his teammate. How are you paying him more than me? That kind of stuff. He even threw Byron Jones under the bus in the process. None of that is going on with X. So that tells me there's some going on behind the scenes, some communication that has eased the concerns. Yeah. And then the same thing here with Gesicki. Now Gesicki has not shown us to do any of those things that we saw from X the year before, but still he's been very pro Dolphins. There's been no tag. How do you see this playing out?
I'm starting to think that the tea leaves are looking like 50-50. He just might wind up getting tagged.
Okay.
Now, is that tag and they keep him, tag, or they look to maybe trade him to see what they get? Not sure, but it's looking that way, and it's looking very well. Also, maybe that just as Mike McDaniel kind of presented his plan to the Dolphin brass of how he's going to get the most out of Tua in his offense, it's very, very possible that he may have done the same thing with Mike Gesicki. In fact, it's likely he did the same thing with Mike Gesicki and goes, this is how I'm going to use him in this offense. And maybe, like, as we talked before, maybe he'll just become an oversized wide receiver with the tight end tag.
And what's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. That's basically what he's been anyway. So let's stop the pretense. So, and there's nothing wrong with having more receiving options, for the offense. So
let's not make it sound like in the history of the last 30, 40 years while you're watching the NFL, there were guys that were just pass catchers, bro.
Correct.
And they were labeled tight ends and big freaking deal, man. But they were important to you. You know what I mean? They created mismatches for you. Mm-hmm. So that's why you use them all the way back from Brent Jones and all the way through now to Mike Gesicki. You'll find guys in the history of time that they weren't pancaking anybody on the line, but they were creating havoc all over the damn field.
Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp's another one.
Big arms and all. He wasn't there to block.
I don't recall him ever throwing the block. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, come on, man. I mean, Shannon Sharp was Sterling Sharp, except he played tight end. No big deal.
And you know what?
What was that?
And he talked to the media.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. I mean, there are guys that over the years you start to think about them, and they weren't really blockers for you, but they were creating all kinds of mismatches for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. And to kind of finish it up with this, I love the idea of tagging him and not extending him. Why? Because now I know what kind of offense you're going to run, right? So, you got to experiment in a way with him. So there's no better way to experiment than a 1-year tag. You're not tied to a long-term deal. It leaves it open for you to trade him. And at the same time, if he fits, then you can find the long-term deal after that.
Correct.
That's what I like about it, that at least you're able to control it for a year and then make the decision.
And at $11 million, it's not outrageous.
Yeah.
So that, that plays into that equation as well. So no, it certainly would make sense. If they do bring him back, though, I mean, something else going to have to give, whether they let go of Adam Shaheen, or maybe they decide Ethan Carter's value on special teams doesn't merit him, remaining on the roster. But Hunter Long obviously is going to be on there. I still think they're going to re-sign Durham Smythe, especially if Gesicki stays, considering those two are really tight, even though certainly wouldn't be the determining factor from Smythe's standpoint. But again, he's another guy who was drafted by the Dolphins, and there is some merit to that certain guys like the idea of staying with their original team, as long as possible.
I'm with you there. All right. Follow him on Twitter, by the way, at Poupart NFL. What are you working on there at Sports Illustrated so fans can bookmark your page and lock it in, my friend?
Yeah, I'm going to do something like what we call in the journalism profession, cleaning out the Dolphin Combine notebook later today, some free agency thing as well, and then whatever else might pop up.
There you go. All right, good stuff. How was the garlic bread?
Oh, I meant to tell you that. Oh, better than I remembered. And I was with a big group, and I recommended it to everybody, and it was smash in my gut. It was ridiculous.
Right,
wow.
Of course. Right, of course.
Man, that was so good.
I miss it. Well, Sean and I will be there next year to accompany you and have some fun. I'm looking forward to working the combine again, bro. Haven't worked the streets and the bars in a while in Indy for last 3 years. This is my third straight one that I missed. Sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks big time. All right, my brother. Appreciate you as always. We'll catch you later in the week, and you'll have all of our defensive end information, free agency, and draft. You will be tested. Okay?
I'll be on it.
Much love. Later.
See you.
There you go. The great Alan Poupart, baby, in our Sports Grill Miami Dolphins report.
This has been the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report with Alan Poupart, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and never miss a report. Search Big O Radio Show on most platforms. Visit Sports Grill in our sponsored locations in Miami on Bird Road and 114th and in Miami Lakes in the Royal Oaks Plaza.
Right, all right, we there. All right. I think we could get Ridley with our second round pick. Yeah, that would be incredibly ridiculous, Martina. Sorry. You don't trade for a wide receiver. You don't trade for a running back. You don't give away draft picks. There'll be plenty available in free agency. You sign them in free agency. If Ridley does not get released, you don't trade for him. If Cooper doesn't get released, you don't trade for him. Now, if they get released, you can go sign them. You do not trade for those players. They're going to be available one way or another. Okay? Not worth trading for any of those guys. That means you're giving up picks and cap space. That makes 0 sense. 0. Sean, can you do me a favor and load up our KSDT Sports Business Report? It is time. We got a very interesting story. Let's go with our KSDT Sports Business Report. All right, KSDT, baby. It is that tax season. You got to get it done. By the way, they also are crypto experts. So they've got 3 gentlemen that work in the crypto department. So not only can they do your personal, your business, and by the way, they are a Forbes 200 company in accounting, by the way. So make sure you check out KSDT and tell them that Big O sent you. Hopefully they can give me a ride in that race car too. So in sports business, really interesting. Manchester City has signed a multi-million-dollar deal with OKX Crypto Exchange. OKX, I'm not very familiar with them, but they're probably an overseas crypto exchange, obviously. You know, it is Manchester City. So Manchester City announced that multi-year global agreement. It's the latest in cryptocurrency, as they had canceled another one. The new partnership, which Forbes says it's worth a multi-million-dollar fee, annually covers City's men's and women's esports teams. Also, it will see the OKX branding displayed across the stadium, the academy, and the campus, and the club's digital assets. The agreement will also see the launch of an exclusive club theme experience on the OKX cryptocurrency exchange platform. City has confirmed that the partnership, which OKX's first deal in sports, will also evolve to include further projects in the future. But here's the thing about sports business and crypto. It has changed immensely. Right here in our backyard, FTX is the sponsor of the Miami Heat Arena, right? The Lakers, Crypto.com, the National Women's Soccer League, Voyager. That's where I have some Voyager. I end up I have a little investment in Voyager there also. Crypto also is with the UFC. When you watch the UFC matches, you'll see Crypto.com there. FTX is also on the base, is with baseball and on the umpires' uniforms. The Trailblazers, Stormex, which Stormex is actually a pretty good coin. You can get it on Voyager. You can get it on Crypto.com. You can, I don't know if they got it on OK Coin, but Stormex is not bad. It's on a nice little dip, but they're also a sponsor of the Trailblazers. Inter Miami in our backyard, XBTO is a crypto financing lending company. The Drone Racing League, Algorand, which a very good coin, is a sponsor of the Drone Racing League, which, again, not that I watch it, but drone racing has also become a big thing. So sports and crypto are becoming one. And whether we've watched beer and all other types of products and pizza and everything else become associated with football, right? Well, crypto is becoming associated with the most popular sport in our country, the second most popular sport in the world in basketball, right? Now it's being tied to soccer teams all around the world, the most popular sport in the world. And that's because mass adoption is coming. It's not something that happens overnight because it's not something that's understood by most in an overnight thing. It's got to be piecemeal. It's got to be exploratory. It's got to be embryonic. It's got to be, very amateur, right? At the beginning, you've got to make it, simple, 101 for people. And I think that's what OKCoin does with their app. They make it really easy. Like if you go to gate.io to purchase crypto, it's a little bit more confusing than when you do it on OKCoin. OKCoin makes it in a very simplistic way so the average person can really understand it. And that's what's going to happen with crypto. Whether it's decentralized financing or anything, we're going to have to go through easy stages for people to understand. They don't need to learn about, like you guys were asking about proof of stake and proof of work and all that, which would bore the crap out of people to start talking about that kind of stuff. They don't want to know about that kind of stuff. So you've got to kind of show people and teach them slowly but surely about all of this. But you can see it in sports business. Crypto is definitely crossing over. That's our KSDT Sports Business Minute. Now we will go to Ira Winderman and talk a little Heat basketball with our Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat report.
This has been the KSDT Sports Business Report. KSDT CPA is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax and accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit online at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370. Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
All righty, there we are. We're ready to talk a little basketball after a terrific weekend. See, you're just a nervous Nelly. You're worried about the Nets. You're worried about the Sixers. And I'm telling you, you don't have to worry about them. When they get 100, Miami will get 100. They'll add an Oladipo like they will tonight. No concerns, Ira. The Heat will take care of business against the Nets and the Sixers.
But you know what, Big O, as I also wrote about this, as much as it was, it was hell week and they came through with a hell of a week at 3-1, there's still bigger games against three of those teams coming up for this reason. When they played the Bulls, they played them without Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso. When the Heat make the final road trip of the season to Chicago, those two will be back. They played the Nets without Kyrie Irving because of the vaccine mandate, because Ben Simmons, because he's not ready. In 2 weeks from now, on a Saturday at FTX Arena, those two will be back. They played Philadelphia without James Harden. 2 weeks from today in Philadelphia, Harden likely will be back. It won't be a back-to-back. So as much as they aced their tests, went 3-1 with a 1-point loss in Milwaukee.
And they weren't 100% either, by the way. And
you're right. You know what? But I'm always of the thought.
All right. If we're gonna give them the excuse, we had it too.
I'm not about excuses. That's why I didn't mention Kyle Lowry being out for all three of those games, because the Heat have pushed through that all season. My point being, we didn't see the true Bulls, we didn't see the true Sixers, we didn't see the true Nets, even if they didn't see the true Heat. And that's what leaves this thing sort of so jumbled. You still don't know, Big O. You still don't know the actual matchups. What I like about it is this. They secured the tiebreaker against the Bulls. They improved their chances of the tiebreaker against the 76ers. And while they finished 2-2 against the Bucks, they have the next level tiebreaker in conference record. So those were all big games. This week, you have more of a Western Conference schedule. You have the Rockets tonight. You have the Suns. You have the Timberwolves coming up. Those don't mean as much. They're not tiebreaker games. Would not be surprised to see the Heat rest some people again. They know what's at stake, and they know what's not at stake.
So we watched the win against the Sixers the other night, 99-92 on Saturday night. So let's hammer away a problem that we've been talking about for a long time.
Sure.
So Gabe Vincent, 29 minutes. Strus, 27 minutes. Caleb Martin, 21 minutes. Duncan Robinson, 18 minutes. And he didn't shoot poorly, didn't shoot much,
right?
But didn't shoot poorly. So I have to point that out. But is there something going on? Talk to me.
What's going on is that Eric Spoelstra has always had one starter where the leash was limited. I always make the Luke Babbitt joke. You and I go back. We know that. But over the years, this is an NBA trend. I remember the 76ers under Billy Cunningham. Mark Ivoroni would start games and play 4 minutes in each half, and that's it. I think that's the Duncan Robinson role. It's either be great, be effective, or we have someone else. And you know what? Coming in for Duncan Robinson is Max Strus. And if he is the better player on that night, we saw that in previous games also, he gets the minutes on those nights, and that is only fair. You know what? It's almost like Big O. It's almost like a job share. It's like you don't have to pay either of them benefits. They each are working a 20-hour week for you, and whoever's more productive will get the raise into the full-time job. I think that's where it stands. And, that could be the way out of this conundrum for Eric Spoelstra. He doesn't have 9, 10, 11 playoff rotation spots. He doesn't. So you might see more of a job share. If you need X, you go to player X. If you need more of Y, you go to player Y. So what I think you're going to see is this. You're going to see the same starters, the 5-man lineup that's worked well no matter what you think of Duncan.
You're right. You're right.
Tyler Hero is locked in as your 6th man because he's your 6th man award winner. Dwayne Dedmon is locked in as your 7th man because he's been very effective in bringing the bulk and the size and the height and the deterrence that maybe Bam doesn't, a little different way than Bam. I think beyond those 7, you might see some job shares. If Victor Oladipo has it going, no issue. Fine, it's him. It's not Gabe Vincent. If Caleb Martin's energy is not needed, maybe you go to Max Strus' shooting or in a different direction there also. So I think we can lock in 7, and then I think it'll be a daily dilemma for Eric Spoelstra to try to figure out those next 2 spots. A good problem to have, as I posted in my Ask Ira today at sunsentinel.com.
Here's the screwed up part, because when you were saying this, it triggered something in my mind. Like you said, well, either you're great or you're not in the first couple of minutes and you're out, right? But here's the screwed up part. There's only one area that he could be great than those guys, and that's shooting.
Right.
But if Spoelstra has to think of who's the better basketball player, oh my God, it's Strus, it's Gabe Vincent, and Caleb Martin. They're all better basketball players than Duncan Robinson. And so they're going to be better defensively. They're just going to be better for me overall, facilitators, you name it. And so all of a sudden now, if Duncan's not shooting, like, I can't blame Eric Spoelstra if he's looking at his bench going, with these guys, at least even if they don't shoot as well as Duncan, or if they're shooting as bad as Duncan or as mediocre as Duncan, at least I know on the other side of the court, they're going to be productive for me. Whereas, Duncan is a loss completely on that other side.
Except so I would give you part B of that. And that's the opposing scouting report. And I guarantee you, Big O, at least now, Duncan is far higher on the opposing scouting report than Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, or Caleb Martin. And as long as you're occupying the defense full time, Duncan does that. And if you watch the game, and again, I always tell Heat fans, I know it's hard on television, but if you're at the game at FTX Arena and you have a chance to watch off the ball, there's always a body on Duncan. There isn't always on Strus. There isn't always on Vincent. There isn't always on Martin. That's why he gets in for the offensive rebounds. So as long as Duncan occupies you and occupies the opposing defense, that still matters, and that matters a lot. Now, maybe you're playing a playoff series and Duncan is off, and in game 1 against Atlanta, Max Strus goes off for 5 of 8. That's going to change Nate McMillan's scouting report. I agree with that. So maybe in a playoff series, it's a little bit different, where all of a sudden it's not stay on Duncan all the time. It's don't let this Strus guy beat us in game 2. He already beat us in game 1. It is a different dynamic. Everything about the playoffs is different. The playbook will change. The rotation will change. And again, as much as I hate to agree with you every now and then, I'll do it once a week. I'm on 3 times a week. So I'll agree maybe a little bit on the Monday accurate Pembroke Pines report so I can disagree on Friday. Eric Spoelstra has changed his starting lineup in advance of the playoffs 2 or 3 times already. We saw that with Kendrick Nunn versus Goran Dragic, so it certainly is possible. We've seen that with Myers Leonard. So maybe for you and I arguing back and forth these last few weeks, let's wait till April 16th, April 17th, and maybe Eric Spoelstra does say, okay, that was our regular season approach. This is our playoff approach. It's very risky, but you know what? With the kind of stability he has in the franchise, Eric Spoelstra is not afraid to make those kind of judgments.
We're 62 games in. He played 72 and 73 games the last 2 years. Okay? His three-point percentage has gone from 44.6% in 2020 to 40.8 in 2021, and it is now at 36.5 in 2022. What you do have to start asking yourself is, were we in a moment for Duncan Robinson? Because it's 3 straight years of the 3-point average going down 4% every single time from 40 to 44.
And maybe that's because he has gained the respect of the defense. The first year it was, who the hell is this Division III player? Fire away. Year 2 is, this guy might be something. Year 3 is, this is a $90 million guy, and we damn well better guard him. That's part of it. But also, in the last 6 weeks, it's trending in a much better direction. Matter of fact, the only thing I'll say about Duncan Robinson shooting this year versus last year, maybe like 2 years ago with his breakout, is this. It's been too inconsistent. Before, he had always been, one game he might shoot 45% from the 3. The next game he might shoot 38% from the 3. This year he's had scoreless games. He's had 3 scoreless games, I think, in the last 11. That can't happen for any starter, let alone your 3-point shooting specialist. It's been the inconsistency, but maybe it's been specific opponents saying, we're not going to let this kid beat us. Again, if Duncan Robinson can maintain 1 and maybe even the intention of 2 defenders, it makes it easier for Butler. It makes it easier for Bam. It makes it easier for Kyle Lowry. So there still is something to be said for that.
At the end of the year, if it ends at 36 or even lower than that, do the Heat have to look around and say, yeah, he's a heck of a shooter when he's uncovered, but he is not good enough to overcome the defense now? Because as you know, and everybody else, we're not breaking news to anybody. When you bust through and you get that contract, you get the attention. And now you got to play that chess game that you're going to have to answer back to them, that now they know who the hell you are. And if you're a really good player, like a Tyler Hero, you're going to answer back and you're going to say, yeah, I'm going to beat you shooting. I'm going to beat you passing. I'm going to penetrate and hit it on the in the paint, whatever. Tyler has answered back the defenses that have come at him, and he has figured out a way. This young man, unfortunately, has not been able to counter that chess move. So is that something that is going to be an issue for the Heat at the end of the year if it continues in this trajectory?
Big O, I would put it this way. I think it's going to be an issue for the Heat no matter what Duncan Robinson does, even if he shoots 50% for the rest of the season, for this reason. The Heat have financials to consider in the offseason. It is Tyler Hero's extension offseason. Well, they took care of Bam early, perhaps too early, and hurt themselves in the Antetokounmpo race or free agency. But they did that. So if you do it for Bam, I think it's reasonable that you could also consider having to do it for Tyler, number 1.
Oh, yeah.
2,
yeah.
Starting tonight against the Rockets at FTX Arena. If Victor Oladipo is really good, only one NBA team holds his bird rights. He can go to free agency, but it's going to be cap space in a year, or unless you want to go to the stinking Knicks, you're not going to have teams out there with a lot of cap space. So if the Heat want to bring him back and a bird rights contract, which they can, that's 2 more big contracts you're adding to Lowry, to Butler, and Adebayo. You can only carry so many. You're dealing with that right now with NFL free agency, where $1 impacts the next dollar. So I'm not so sure that Duncan stays regardless. I think the Heat would love him to shoot great. 1, because you win now, you win in the playoffs. But 2, it keeps the value high. So maybe instead of $18 million Duncan Robinson, you also get 2 nice little $9 million pieces that you could round out your team as well, especially if Caleb Martin leaves in free agency. You have that also. So you have, you might not want to lose him, but you might lose him. Because, again, he's like that Tyler Johnson contract. You can only pay so much for your 8th man, even if you love your 8th man. What I'm saying is this, Big O. There's a lot of moving parts financially, and I think Duncan Robinson has to figure in that overall equation in the offseason, regardless of how he shoots.
I love Caleb Martin, man. I have fallen in love with that kid. I mean, he is Heat. He is a Heat player.
Oh, I agree with that. But I'm going to put this to you. Is he ever really going to wind up higher than your 7th or 8th man? Let's be honest here, O. He probably will not.
I don't know that, but he's gotten better and better.
Adebayo, Lowry, Butler, Oladipo, Hero. You go down the line, eventually you're going to reach.
Let's have some fun with this. I can't expect Butler to be Butler in 2 years. I need somebody to take over for Butler. So I'm going to do my best to keep Caleb Martin, because I'm developing a guy that is, all tool-like. everything. The kid can
And
shoot, the
that's
kid can
fine.
pass,
And
the
I
kid can
and I
defend.
love a jack
The
of all
kid has
trades, and I
moxie,
love
the kid has
that.
toughness. So
But again,
I expect Butler to take a secondary role because his body's breaking down before our eyes as we're watching. He's a tough sumbitch. He leaves his heart and soul out there every single night, but he's got a lot of mileage on that body. And in 2 years, maybe I need a Caleb Martin starting and him coming off the
but
bench.
I don't know that you could afford those first 2 years at that salary for your eighth man, and that's the problem. And I think the Heat very much with Kyle Lowry at 35, with PJ Tucker at 36, and Jimmy at 32. Oh, I think everything is year to year with the Heat. I don't think there is a what about 3 years? Because if there was Big O, they would keep their draft choices. They would have second round draft choices. I love the Miami Heat burn the boats approaches. This is about this year, and we'll worry about next year, and we'll worry about the year after, the year after. That is what made this team, for the most part, a special team. They burn their boats. They burn their first round picks. They live in the moment. And it's been a hell of a moment this season.
So why don't we have Viking ships being burnt right out there in the bay? It's just to kind of go along with the whole theme.
See, there you go. That's your theme for a Thursday show. So now find a pyrotechnic firm and you're set.
There you go. All right. Wednesday, you can catch Ira again with Clay Ferrara at 9 o'clock with our Sloman's Home Security Inside the Paint show. And then he'll be back on Friday to talk a little Miami Heat with our Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat report. What are you working on leading up to tonight's game? And Oladipo,
you know what? I'm going to post Bam Adebayo just spoke about Vic saying we're getting an all-star back. Don't ever forget that. That'll be a little later today at sunsentinel.com. I already posted a story about what I'm calling the Cafecito couple, and that's Tyler Hero and Caleb Martin bringing the caffeine with the second unit. Tyler comes in the middle of a period. Everything changes. Martin comes in at the end of the rotation, and you can see his late game plays, how big of a difference they make when everyone else is tired. This guy's the double calf. He gets out there. He keeps you going. So I think that Cafecito couple we have going there really has done something for the bench. So that's posted already at sunsentinel.com on your doorstep tomorrow. And we'll keep on bringing it. I'm going to put on my Victor Oladipo jersey as soon as we're done.
Yeah,
I think it's 4.
I'm finding a way to unload Duncan Robinson so I make sure I don't lose Caleb Martin and Max Strus, by the way. I don't want to lose Max Strus either. Seriously, I don't want to lose.
What's going to happen right now, folks? I know that Big O is planning to come out to the Vegas Summer League. He's going to be walking around the Thomas and Mack Center saying, hey, anyone interested? It's like the scalper. I got a Duncan Robinson right here. Who wants a Duncan Robinson? So you could sell him off then, Big O.
Riley's been lucky that I haven't hit the road in the NBA. It's only been NFL. Now we're hitting the NBA road, so we're coming after you, Riley. I'm going to track you down in Vegas. Make sure you don't trade Caleb and Strus.
Hey, he shaved his goatee, then you're going to have to shave your goatee. That's another story for another day.
All right, I can shave it. It'll pop up again in 2 days, baby.
Just like
I
Pat's.
am the human chia pet. Right, Sean? Go ahead. Fire away, Sean. I know you're locked and loaded with the chia pet. There you go. So follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Ira will catch you on Wednesday.
Catch you on Wednesday. Thank you, Big O.
There you go. The great Ira Winderman.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig's in Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All right. We thank Ira Winderman. Big O, did you see Inter Miami? The coach needs to change the formation. I know this team is young and new, but they got dominated. Hope they can improve. You know, Frankie, let's talk a little Inter Miami. Really quick here. I watched the game yesterday. They got their asses kicked 5-1. The Campana goal was actually a nice goal. They are young. You know what? I don't know if formations need to be changed yet. I'm not smart enough yet. Maybe you know these players more than I do. I don't know enough about these players. I need to see them a lot more to see what fits, what doesn't. I can tell you this, Lewis Morgan has outscored the entire Inter Miami squad in the first 2 weeks of the season. He had a hat trick this weekend. You trade your best player, he looked comfortable, okay, with his new team scoring a hat trick. Meanwhile, this team has scored 1 goal in 2 games. They're bad, but they're young. They got more speed. They got more athleticism than they had last year. There's no doubt about it. But there's no chemistry yet. They still can't finish. Higuain is a superstar that they added that he's no longer a good finisher around the box. Forget great. He used to be great. He's not even good. Like, I don't know how many times I'm going to watch Higuain around the box and not know how to finish and can't finish anything. And then he always turns around to point at the referee and this and that. And it's like, no, bro, shut up. You just can't finish. And so, listen, they're young. Maybe they play their best soccer a couple of months from now. I don't know. I have no idea. You got to give them some time because we don't know who they are and they're really young. If this was a veteran-laden team and they lost these 2 games, then I would tell you, yeah, this season's over. But I don't know enough of these guys. So I'm going to wait to pass some judgment on this team. They're young. They can't finish. They don't play great defense. Okay. I don't know if they're good enough or not, to be quite honest. It doesn't look, very appealing right now. Let's be honest. It looks pretty bad right now. But, we do have to say it's early. So let's give them some time. Let's give Neville some time. And we will find out if there is actually something here. But right now, it ain't good. That's for damn sure. It is ugly. So thank you, Frankie, for chiming in on the super chat. Very nice of you. Let's see. What else do we have here? Andy says, Big O tuning in from Scotland. Well, thank you, Andy. That's pretty good, man. I like that. Scotland. Very nice. Very nice. By the way, not to get too political or anything, but just much love and props to the Polish people and Poland and how they have absorbed all those refugees that have come from Ukraine. God bless you, Poland, man. God bless you. You guys are your hearts are just absolutely enormous, man. I mean, I'm not getting into this a whole bunch or anything, but I just have to say, God bless you, dude. So what can I tell you? It's just awesome stuff. All right, let's see. What else do we have here on the program? Remember, you want to get in on the Welton Rayom text line, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. I'll read some of your texts in a few minutes. Marcel Louis Jacques is going to join us here at the bottom of the hour. Big O, sir, what are your thoughts on the lockout, and do you see any baseball being played this year? Isaiah, I do expect them to play. It's just they're idiots. They're just idiots. They've ruined such a great game. Young people don't care about baseball. Us old people are dying. Their fan base is dying. They don't realize that they can't afford to have any kind of stoppage. They don't realize that they've got to do a lot more than what they're doing already. Their players are incredibly lazy. They don't know how to market themselves and market the sport. They're not like soccer, basketball, and football. Their agents, the teams, the players, they don't understand what marketing is all about. They don't know how to create things in a way to make their game fun and attractive to young people. It is lame. It is boring. It's got all these unwritten rules that just make it just a sap show. Just crap, dude. Baseball is so frustrating. Such a cool sport, man. Well, what happened, dude? What happened with Joe Morgan and Ricky Henderson and watching Steve Carlton on the mound and Mike Schmidt shaking his ass at you at the plate as he hits a home run? Emotional Reggie Jackson. What happened, dude? What happened to the color in baseball? What happened to the fun in baseball? From the San Diego chicken to anything else that chicks dig the long ball and all the other things that we've had over the years and decades. I get it. We can't have Morgana the Kissing Bandit anymore. That can't be allowed. Okay, understandable. But there's a whole bunch of other things that used to be fun about baseball. It's not there anymore. You think kids are sitting around the park imitating baseball players like we used to do? Like, guess who's this? You know, Ozzie Smith running onto the field and doing the somersault? No, what happened, dude? What happened to baseball? All the stolen bases, everything that was going on with the game. Now it's a lame-ass sport that it's either a strikeout or a home run, and idiots can't hit against the shift. Something that Lou Piniella would have been laughing at you. Tony Gwynn, oh, you're shifting on me? Ted Williams, oh, you're going to shift on me. Lou Piniella's going to on you for shifting on him. I don't know, dude. I can't help you. It's the most frustrating and baffling thing that goes on with baseball. Love the sport, man. Love watching it. It was so much fun. It's not fun anymore. And then the business of baseball has gotten in the way of baseball for the last couple of decades, like never before. And you've got an agent in Scott Boras who runs the baseball like a tyrant almost. And there's this attitude from the players, and there's this dismissal from the owners, and you know what baseball is? Baseball is an ugly divorce. It's mom versus dad. One cheated on the other, or both cheated on the other, or both hate each other, and guess who they're using as a weapon? Us, the child. I'd love to make a Kramer versus Kramer reference, but damn it, that's an old reference. Kanye versus Kim. The more Kanye picks on Pete Davidson, the more Kim Kardashian bangs the crap out of him. I don't know. Is that Kramer versus Kramer? Kanye versus Kim? I don't know. It's the only analogy I can come up with. I mean, I don't know, man. Can't help you. It's so frustrating. Just is. Plus, Kramer versus Kramer was never funny. Yeah, I know, but it's just going with the husband versus wife thing. That's all. Baseball's a cerebral game that requires an attention span to appreciate it, but they have taken all the fun out of it, sadly. It's just weird, man. It ruined a great game. Big O speaking truth about baseball right now. I mean, what can I tell you? It's frustrating. Miss Jose Fernandez, I stopped watching after his death. Hell, I was only watching his outing. I wasn't really watching much else in those days either. Because I hated Loria, dude. I hated Loria with a passion. I could not do anything to, support Loria. I want to support Sherman and Jeter. Now Jeter's gone, and that tells me that Sherman doesn't have any money. And I'm just frustrated as a Dolphins fan, as a Canes fan, as an Inter Miami fan. Yeah, I'm frustrated a lot, but as a Marlins fan, oh my God. It's hopeless because of baseball. Jesus, Big O, just watch your interview with Joe Shad. Yeah, Joe and I went at it. Joe was going to be on today, by the way. Joe is sick as a dog. So prayers for Joe. He ended up getting a fever and nastiness over at the combine. It's not COVID related, so that's good. He didn't say it was COVID, but he's all effed up right now. Poor guy. But yeah, we had he has this whole thing. He spins this stuff that, I'm just not going to let stuff slide. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things, but it was fun. It was fun. Got to challenge each other, man. That's the idea. We don't do lame ass, interviews where we're just going to agree with each other all the time. No, that's no fun. You got to come up with some disagreements. You know what I mean? I know Joe picks on me sometimes because I'm passionate, and he says, "Well, you sometimes you stick to your opinion and you won't move." In other words, calling me hard-headed, which is true. I'll admit it. But if I haven't been hard-headed about Ryan Tannehill for 10 years, what do you think? 85% of you, well, nah, he's not a franchise quarterback. Wait a minute. He's playing well in Tennessee. He's a franchise quarterback. Meanwhile, the entire time I'm sticking to my guns saying, no, he's not. He's living off of Derrick Henry. He's living off play design. Wait till he has to go off play design. Wait till things break down. You will see the real Ryan Tannehill because we've always seen that same Tannehill. And sure enough, in the playoffs. But a lot of you, right? You went back and forth with Tannehill. He would do a couple things here for a couple weeks. You thought he actually arrived. He has some success in Tennessee. You think he arrives. He never arrived at any time. He's a nice facilitator. That's it. On his best day, he's a facilitator. That's why I've always stuck to my guns that he'll never be a franchise guy. So sometimes Joe has that problem that I stick with my guns. And so on Saturday, I stuck with my guns. All right, Marcel Louis-Jacques, he sticks to his guns, and he sticks to a little Edge energy drink. That's right, baby. It's our Edge energy drink. Miami Dolphins report. That's next.
Time to get the edge on the Miami Dolphins with our Edge Energy Drink Miami Dolphins report. When you want the energy drink that's delicious and smooth with zero aftertaste, you can only order Edge Energy Drink at myedgedrink.com. That's myedgedrink.com. Here's the ESPN Dolphin insider Marcel Louis-Jacques.
There he is. He's locked and loaded, ready to go. How
always,
you feeling, baby?
Always. It's always a nice morning. Waking up to 75 degrees in Miami. I've said this many times before. I'll say it many times again, that this is paradise to wake up to. It's impossible to have a bad day.
That's true. That's true. But if you want, we'll ship your ass right back to Indianapolis so you can freeze. You want?
I'm good. It's funny, and I think this is a sign of my growth and my maturity, is that I left the combine maybe a day before most people did. I left on Thursday. I think a lot of people left on Friday or Saturday. And I'm thinking like, man, I'm going to get FOMO sitting in my place, like while everybody's out doing X, Y, Z, and I'm seeing this group text and that group text. Man, not an ounce of it. I grabbed my dog. I saw him on the couch. I turned on Snowfall. I caught up on all my shows for the week, watched a little Dexter, cracked a beer open and relaxed, went to sleep at a decent time, man. I was like, okay, never mind. I'm good now. I'm grown. I'm ready to be. I turned 30. I will turn 30 in August. I'm ready for that, man. I think I've reached that pinnacle now where I can, I don't have to go out just for the sake of going out anymore. It's just a wonderful realization.
What I would give to turn the clock back 25 years to go to 30. That would be really, really, really nice overall. All right, so at the Combine, first of all, coming out of the Combine, Drew Rosenhaus said yesterday that he doesn't feel Emmanuel Ogbah is going to get tagged, and it looks like he's going to hit free agency. It seems like Rosenhaus probably gave him a pretty high number, and they weren't willing to meet that number. What are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, a franchise tag for a defensive end is a nightmare scenario. So that's not surprising. We've heard now from McDaniel and from Grisgria that they want Ogbah back. I would assume that means on a long-term deal. He's still very much in the prime of his career. He's had his most productive seasons in Miami over the past 2 years, one of the most effective defensive linemen at the line of scrimmage in the NFL, arguably the most disruptive defensive lineman in terms of sacks, batted balls, QB hurries, all the above. But yeah, no, I think the franchise tag would be I think it would be an inefficient use of funds in this case. So that's not surprising. He's rep by Rosenhaus, man. Like, you knew the big figure was coming.
Explain to people that when you tag them, the hard cap number affects you a lot more than a regular contract. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, what's understood doesn't have to be explained. But yes, like it affects you a little bit more. And also that figure goes up the next year. Like, you can't just keep tagging people. It's like a Band-Aid on a dam, more or less. Like, it's way more efficient to just. What is it like? Is it like 10% or
15% if you tag them again or something like that?
I think it is closer to 10%. Either way, so like it would go from, and I'm throwing figures out, 20 to 24, like 18 to 23. It's just not. It's way easier. Just pay him his 16, 17 a year, whatever the hell he wants over 3 years. I spoke with agents this week who don't like doing the 2-year deal. They think it's a bad move for their clients. And, I tend to agree. But he's done too much to warrant a 1-year deal. I would say somewhere in the range of 3 years, AAV of about 17.5. If you're getting 9 sacks a year.
Marcel, his problem is he's screwed because after his rookie deal, normally you get that big fat deal. He didn't get that. And that 2-year deal that he just signed with Miami, that shortened his lifespan. He's only going to get one more big contract here, and that's it. He won't get another big contract. So I think that's why these two are holding out for him, the biggest deal from whoever, because it's the only big deal he's going to sign.
And I don't want to pigeonhole him like that. Like I said, he's still
do the math.
Very. He's still.
It's a 4-year deal. He's 27. It'll be 31. They don't give you big deals at defensive end at 31, dude. They just don't.
What he's got going for him is he's on that upward trajectory. His numbers have increased year after year, except for these past 2. I think he's been at 9, both years. But there's still, like, he's getting more productive the older he gets. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's his prime. Get that little 3-year deal and then hope that you can maximize yourself again with another 3-year contract at the end of this one. But it would be a little surprising to see them let Agba go. Mike McDaniel has shown he kind of values the system that Miami had in place last year on defense. It's part of the reason why he kept Josh Boyer after speaking with them pretty thoroughly. Part of the reason why he kept the bulk of that defensive staff minus the secondary coaches. But it would just, you would have to start over. You would have to start over if you're Miami. Yes, you have Jalen Phillips there, but like, you have to replace Agba somehow. So what are you going to replace him with? A rookie? You're going to replace him with another free agent? If you're going to spend money on the position, why not just sign the guy who's been productive for you and galvanize the locker room a little bit? It wouldn't make a lot of sense to me to let him go. Like I said, I was fairly confident that he's back in our 5-can segment last week. So I would expect that to remain the same. And then Gesicki, I'm going to stick to my guns there once again and say he's franchise tagged by the end of the deadline tomorrow.
I think so too. I agree.
Let him play it out. Let him play it out. If he's productive in the system, if he improves as a blocker, if he is the weapon that they need him to be, and he turns into that, George Kittle type spark for the offense. Not expecting George Kittle numbers, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying here. An effective tight end like Mike McDaniel has always had.
He won't be much of a blocker. You know that. It's just he'll try to get in the way of people. That's all blocking is. Yeah, well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, he's not going to.
You don't have to be a mauler. Look, man, I played wide receiver in high school. I was 5'11" at the time, 165 pounds. I was one of our best blocking wide receivers because I understood I don't need to manhandle and ragdoll you around. I just need you to stop you from getting from point A to point B. That's all you got to do, man. Stay in front of somebody. Now, high school and the NFL levels are obviously way different, but the concept is the same. That's all blocking is staying in front of somebody. And he is athletic and long enough that he should be able to stand in front of somebody and keep them from getting past you. So, but it's all technique and it's coaching, and it's half of blocking is willingness. So we'll see if he just displays the willingness, if there's like some little newfound, newfound desire to be better in that regard. Greer and McDaniel seem to think so. We'll see. It doesn't matter. But either way, get your 1 year just as a 1 year audition, as a tryout for the future.
Right. That's what
you're still paid very well.
Yeah. And this is really more about the Dolphins than Gesicki. It's really more about McDaniel going, all right, let me see if I can make him fit in my scheme for a year. And if it works, then we can work on a long-term deal. And if it doesn't, we'll move on. We're friends, and we'll get some compensation from him for something else. And that's it. And you move on from him, and you're fine overall. So I really don't have a problem with this one. Now, on the Agba front, I threw this out to Alan Poupar earlier. Well, you're at the Combine, and probably the last couple of days you've been talking to X's agent about a deal, right? Because obviously something's going on there because X is nice and quiet and not saying anything. Last year he was trashing Byron Jones, like, you're paying that guy more than me, that kind of stuff. Like, X has been really cool, so something's going on. So I was just mentioning to Alan, I said, well, what if while you're talking to David Canner, so, David, I hear that Demarcus Robinson might be released by the Dallas Cowboys. So what's he going to be looking for? So I'm just wondering that while the Agba thing is going on, what else are they working on as plan B? Could it be a Demarcus Robinson who supposedly might be released by the Cowboys, who are cap, they're struggling with the cap. By the way, Amari Cooper is another one of those.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be very good at your job in this business if you don't cover your bases. So you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And, that's why, you kind of got to be, if you have to have backup plans, and your backup plans have to have backup plans. And so if DeMarcus Lawrence is available on the open market, then yeah, shoot, why not? You've got $65 million to play with right now before toying around with the guys already on contract. But, I think that a critical element of team building is taking care of your own guys, is drafting, developing, and re-signing your own guys. It is a concept, and I know I bring them up a lot, and it's going to make y'all roll your eyes, but you can't argue with results. It's something that the Bills do a lot of, and that's something that they believed in when they first started that rebuild. And it's not necessarily something that we've seen in Miami. It's been kind of a, instead of draft, develop, re-sign, it's been draft, free agent, dump money, pray that a pick works out. And that's not the case. So, I think you've got to, this year, you do have players that you have drafted and you have developed who are deserving of extensions. Like, X deserves to be taken care of. Andrew Van Ginkel deserves to be taken care of. Christian Wilkins deserves to be taken care of. Emmanuel Ogbah, you didn't draft him, but you damn sure developed him. He deserves to be taken care of. I think it sets a precedent and it sets a tone in the locker room that if you come in, you handle business, you go to work, that it's not going to be lost on the guys who make decisions. But if you come in, you do your job, and the front office still goes out and sells $20-some-odd million for guys outside of the locker room to come in, sometimes that works out. A lot of times that causes dissent in the locker room right off the bat, because Brandon Beane used to tell me, I don't like bringing in a free agent and making him the highest paid player on the team.
Oh, yeah, no,
I think it sets the wrong example. So you want to be careful with that this offseason. You want to make sure that your guys are the highest paid players, not DeMarcus Lawrence, not, Von Miller, not any of these Amari Cooper. These are all great names to add to the mix. They'd be awesome in aqua and orange, but you have to take care of your own first, especially new coach and kind of I don't know if last leg GM is the proper way to put it, but a GM who he's got to start winning.
Yeah.
That sends the wrong message to bring in too many big money guys.
The only reason I bring up, just an example, I'm just fishing, by the way. There's nothing to the DeMarcus Lawrence thing. I'm not saying that that's what the Dolphins are doing, but Agba has outplayed DeMarcus Lawrence the last 2 years, by far. And Lawrence has not lived up to the contract that he has signed with the Cowboys. So, and he's 29, I think, something like that, or 30. So you're going to sign him to a short deal, which is what they love doing. And so you just wonder, are they looking at it like, okay, this is another underachiever that we can get to achieve again, and we can get him cheap because he hasn't performed at a high level the last 2 years, and he just got paid by Dallas. You know what I mean? So I'm just wondering if there's another under the radar type guy that they think out there that they can bring in and elevate again or something like that. Because if you're at least allowing him to test the market, Marcel, then that tells me you're pretty comfortable with plan B being in free agency or, of course, in the draft, which you were at the combine. I'm sure you found out this is actually a pretty good draft for defensive ends for several rounds.
It is, but my issue with that, with going the rookie route, and it's the same reason why I don't think that the Dolphins should draft an offensive lineman high, is Greer said it himself. He doesn't see this as a rebuild anymore.
Amen.
He doesn't see this as a rebuild. You were a game out of the playoffs last year. You just paid a coach $30 million to come here and take you to the next level. You're not rebuilding. So, like, getting rid of or losing Onagba and bringing in a rookie instead, that's a step backwards in my mind. That's a step backwards. That's not a step toward the playoffs. That's a step toward the future.
You don't have time to wait. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So I think, and again, I think it would be a misstep, and I will write it as such. And if I'm wrong, I'll eat my words. If I'm right, I'm not going to brag, but I will write it. It's a misstep if they let Emmanuel Ogbah walk. I think that it's just a respectful side of the business or understanding of the business that, you want to test your value. I want to see what I'm worth. I might not necessarily want to leave Miami, but I want to see what other teams are willing to pay me, so that if Miami's trying to get funny with the change, I could tell them, well, hey, Houston wants to pay me 19 a year, or this team wants to pay me whatever a year. Go ahead and raise that number up, big fella, and keep it there. Like, that's just, I think any of us would do the same. Any of us with the opportunity would do the same to maximize what our earning potential is. So, I don't think that it's personal. I don't think it's, that the two sides are contentious at all. I think it sounded like a typical negotiation. They couldn't agree on a number in season, despite having conversations. They couldn't agree on a number. So they're going to go find one. And, you'll be surprised how quickly that these things get done once new information is added into the mix.
Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ. Catch his work on ESPN, of course, and then catch him here twice a week, living on the edge with our Edge Energy Drink Miami Dolphins Insider Report. Marcel, as always, my brother, I appreciate you. We will catch you later in the week, my friend. Thank you.
Yes, sir. See you Thursday.
You got it. There you go. Marcel getting it done for us right here on the program. Give me that edge. Give me that edge. There you go. Boom. Right there. What about if I put the edge on top of the edge? There we go. Welton Rail, 855-912-1056. That's Marcel Louis Jacques.
You now have the edge on the Miami Dolphins with the Edge Energy Drink Miami Dolphins Report featuring ESPN's Marcel Louis-Jacques. Get the energy drink that's delicious and smooth with zero aftertaste. You can only order Edge Energy Drink at myedgedrink.com. That's myedgedrink.com.
To a couple of Dolphin things that I wanted to talk about. First of all, Gesicki not getting the tag, it looks like. You saw, if you watch him on Instagram, he had a Dolphins hat on his way to his honeymoon, which is actually a good thing. And I'm with Marcel on this one. And most people, I think that he'll get tagged and not signed to a long-term deal. So he'll have a guarantee. And I think he's going to have to kind of prove that he can fit in this system. What I love about Gesicki is his attitude. I love his effort. Okay, I know that he's not a blocker. I get all of that. I don't lose sleep over that. If you have a real coach, they'll know how to use him. The league is littered with guys over the years that weren't great blockers, that were just like Gesicki or worse. But if you can pass catch, man, like he can, and you're a mismatch, and you can make the plays he can in the air, you find a way to make a deal happen. But for this year, I understand a tag because McDaniel has a system he wants to run. He will tweak and adjust for Gesicki. Gesicki will also have to adjust himself and make sure he tries to fit as much as possible. Okay. And if he's able to do that, then they'll find common ground and they'll keep him in 2024 and beyond. But for the moment, I like the approach that the Miami Dolphins are using with Mike Gesicki. It's a positive one. It's one that at least creates an avenue for him to stay here because as a big receiver, he's a mismatch. There's no way linebackers and safeties are going to feel confident covering that guy. So Gesicki's a guy that can create space with his legs. There's a guy that can create space with his body. This is a guy that has terrific hands in traffic. My Lord, he almost pulled off a hat trick, a one-handed hat trick in a football game, which I've never seen before in my life. I've watched guys with one-handed catch. I've never seen a guy almost pull off 3 one-handed catches. Hell, 2 in one game is impossible almost. There has to be a couple out there. I don't remember another one personally, but I'm pretty sure there were. Now, 3 one-handed catches in one game, I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. So this guy's special. But Chris Grier is very deliberate, and he's very consistent with all of this and every player pretty much. He just doesn't go and give you he doesn't give you the blank check and say, "Hey, knock it out, kid, fill it in. Pay yourself whatever you want." Give your it's not like the what's the name of Denzel Washington, the oh God. Not the mechanic, not the specialist, what the hell's the name of that movie? Not the executioner, not the what's the name of that movie? But anyway, that he's like he helps people out all the time. You know, that it's you're not Denzel Washington in in that kind of a situation, This is one where you've got to handle the right way, and let's hope that the Dolphins, whether it's Agba or Gesicki, they're handling it the equalizer. Thank you. Yes, the equalizer. But hopefully I think they will. I think they'll keep Gesicki, and let's hope that the experiment works out. I like Gesicki, man. I think he can play. I think he can make a lot of plays. Brian Flores is in the news. This is interesting. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Brian Flores now intends on amending his lawsuit against the NFL. Yes. So Brian Flores now will amend the complaint per a source with knowledge of the situation. Douglas Wigger requested on Friday, March 4th, an adjournment of a conference set for March 8th based on the fact that Wigger plans to file on behalf of Flores an amended complaint. The parties have agreed that the defendants will have 45 days to respond to the amended complaint that will be filed on April 11th. Now, they haven't specified any reason for the intended amendment for the complaint, all right? But Flores intends to amend his allegations to include a claim of retaliation against the Texans for not hiring him to become the team's new head coach. This is according to Pro Football Talk, which, again, it's, you can take it with a grain of salt, considering their, lack of accuracy at times. But anyway, I love it. So they're going to include a claim of retaliation against the Texans for not hiring him to be the new head coach. You know that this man comes with a sense of entitlement. Like in all these interviews, like, I was meant to coach. I was born to coach. It's in me. It's what players become just absolute Hall of Famers around me. I just look at them and they become great players. I'm exaggerating. But so now retaliation, or maybe just the Houston Texans didn't want to take a chance on your ass. That's their right. And they ended up hiring another minority anyway. What's the big deal? The fact that he added the Texans to it and then he craps all over Lovie Smith. I got to tell you, man, Brian Flores is just an absolute piece of work. It's amazing to me how I doubt that guy. I wonder how many friends he has left in this league. I wonder how many people are willing to be his friend or even trust him after watching him screw over Belichick, the guy that brought him in and gave him the opportunity. He was backstabbing Chris Greer, trying to overpower him. He then craps all over Lovie Smith. Okay? A fellow African-American who gets the opportunity. Lovie Smith went to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. Let me repeat that again. Okay? To Brian Flores. Lovie Smith as a head coach went to the Super Bowl with sexy Rex Grossman. What have you done, Brian Flores? Not make the playoffs in a 17-game schedule? Like, who the hell are you, dude, to pick on Lovie Smith, who's accomplished a hell of a lot more than you have as a head coach? And let me tell you something. I'm not the biggest Lovie Smith fan. He's kind of conservative, a little too conservative for my liking as a head coach. But he made the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. Let me say it again. He made the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. What have you done, Brian Flores? Whew. Brian Flores. Born to coach or stab you in the back, whichever one you want. Did you guys know that the Raiders and the Miami Dolphins have something immensely in common? And I know some of you are going to say, well, they haven't won in a long time. Yes, no, we know all of that, okay? We know they haven't won in a long time. But Josh McDaniel, or McDaniels, I'm sorry, right? Our guy's McDaniel, their guy's McDaniels, right? So Josh McDaniels is the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And he was interviewed about his job there with the team. And he says, I don't think in today's NFL there's really any time to do rebuilding anyway. This certainly isn't that type of situation for us. That's what he said, which, by the way, Mike McDaniel and Josh McDaniels, the McDaniels are in the same boat together. Neither one is part of a rebuild. The Raiders made the playoffs. The Dolphins were on the brink. It's Josh McDaniels' job to get back to the playoffs and try to win some games in the playoffs and move on and improve a team that already has some kind of a base. Well, the Miami Dolphins, it's the same thing. They've got a base on defense and on special teams. They've got some players on offense, but the job is to fix the offense. It's a team that's won 9 and 10 games the last 2 years. So it's not like they lack or they're a terrible team. They're on the brink. Neither one is a rebuild, and neither one should be viewed as a rebuild. Sometimes we've been in positions where it's a rebuild. And when Brian Flores took over, it was a legitimate rebuild. This is not a rebuild. And McDaniel and McDaniels have to have the same attitude. Raiders fans and Dolphin fans have to have the same attitude. It's not about rebuilding. It's about retooling. It's about figuring this or that out. In case of the Dolphins, it's about fixing the offense. You fix an offense that still got you to 9 or 10 wins, you should be able to get to 11 or 12. So the pressure should be on Josh McDaniels. The pressure should be on Mike McDaniel. It's legitimate. It's fair. They were brought in to fix a situation that isn't dire, that isn't desperate. It's on the brink, and you've got to figure out a way to get it over the hump. That's what Mike McDaniel is here for, and that's what Josh McDaniels is there in Las Vegas for. Interesting enough, where we're doing our draft show, okay, at Tommy Rocker's in Las Vegas for 3 days, it's a Dolphins and Raiders bar too. So, because obviously, every bar, I'm sure, but it's a Dolphins bar, but also Raiders fans go there too. Now we're going to dominate those 3 days. So I expect Dolphin fans from all over the world who are coming to Las Vegas to get on the bandwagon and show up and hang out with us over there. All right. But I found it interesting watching Josh McDaniel talk about it. I'm saying this is Mike McDaniel and Josh McDaniels. Fine. They're in the same situation. They both got to win right now, man. They've got to figure things out and get it done. What else do we have here to talk about? Talked about that. Oh, by the way, congrats to Katie Meyer and the women's team. They were fantastic. They made it all the way to the ACC finals and lost to NC State, number 3 team in the country. They lost 60-47. So just want to say congratulations to Katie Meyer and their team. They were fantastic, man. Awesome stuff by Katie Meyer and company to win and to get to that point in the ACC finals, man. That is pretty freaking awesome. Colby Covington, as you predicted, Sean, we were going for Masvidal, but unfortunately Covington, dude, he dominated that fight. He controlled the whole match pretty much. That 4th round too, man. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, no, he's a wrestler. I mean, he talks the talk, but when he gets in there, he does it. He's a professional. He'll say he's going to stand up and fight you. He's not. His forte is wrestling. He's going to take you down. He's going to make it ugly. I mean, that was my worry, was that, if Masvidal couldn't land the punches, he's going to get taken down. And that's exactly what happened. So,
yeah.
Kudos to
dominated. Huh? That was like a domination, right?
He just took him down and he pounded him and he rode him, and he just did exactly what I thought he would do. I thought, look, Masvidal's chance was landing that knee out of nowhere, the punch that rocked him, in the fight there. I thought he should have stayed on him, but again, once he got too close, Covington just wrapped him up, and then it went back down to the ground, and that was his thing. That was exactly, for all the talk that Covington is, he will always do the same thing, and that will make the fight ugly. That's why Usman had success against him too, though, is that Usman has pretty good defense, but Covington was close in that one as well. So, again, you're talking about Masvidal, who is a fighter and has heart, and you saw it there. I mean, he still, at the end of the fight, they still wanted to go. That wasn't one of those fights where they, hit fists and hugged at the end in respect. They were still wanting to fight each other after it was over.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Although I will say this, after a long ass night, because that thing ended like 1 in the morning or something.
Yeah.
I kind of, it didn't live up to the hype that I was hoping for. In other words, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it wasn't
an exciting fight.
It wasn't going to be that fight. Covington, they could talk whatever they wanted to. Once you bought the pay-per-view and everything else, I knew exactly what Covington was going to do. I just didn't know if Masvidal would land something out of nowhere, which could have changed the complexion of the fight.
Yeah, he got dominated, man. He got dominated. Let's see what else. Have anything else here? People don't like Kobe because he does this character But in the octagon, he's legit as there is. Oh, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
He is a badass. He's a badass. Yeah. Yeah. Masvidal is like the guy you definitely want in a street fight. Because that's the guy you got to kill in order to beat him. That's how crazy that bastard is. By the way, the Browns have used a franchise tag on David Njoku, the former University of Miami tight end. It's taken him a while to develop, and he's so gifted. So they have tagged him. Did you guys see Lamar Jackson? I like Lamar Jackson personally, and we've talked about this many, many times over. I don't really ever think of him as a franchise QB passer, but I kind of found it funny, his comments over the weekend. And the thing that I find funny about his comments is that the short-sighted approach he had to it. And by the way, he got into it with Schefter a little bit after, and I'll tell you why, which again, I think is kind of ridiculous. But he was on that podcast with LeBron James, The Shop. And so he was talking about bias towards black quarterbacks. And he says that it's dying off, but it's still there. And he says, it's still there. That's why I need that championship. And I want to say to Lamar Jackson, Lamar, you're full of crap. That's not your motivation. Now, you want to use it as motivation for biases towards black players? Go for it, baby. Okay? Go for it, because we know biases exist, but not in your case. You've been given the keys to the kingdom, my man. They drafted a guy that isn't a really good passer because you're not a good passer. You're not a great passer. You're not a good passer. You're not a decent passer. You're just an athlete that once in a while you can make a decent pass, but you're never going to be a great passer. You have a skill set as a runner that we have never seen before in the history of the NFL. Yet with your limitations as a passer, they drafted you in the first round. They have committed the team to you, and they have built the offense to your talents because no one else can run that kind of an offense because their bodies won't hold up because they'll get hit a lot. You get hit less than everybody else because you run lightning quick. And having said all that, you're now getting hit a lot lately. And you're breaking down more and more and more because it's the inevitable. The quarterback that can't learn to beat you from the pocket and uses his legs to run will end up dying at one point or another out in the open field. Not that I'm wishing it on you, young man. I wish you the best. But when you talk about bias, please don't include yourself in it. Don't include yourself. Don't even talk about it. Don't use it as motivation. It has nothing to do with it. You've been given a shot of a lifetime. You've been given a shot that most teams would never, ever try because nobody's going to commit as much as they have to you when you can't pass. And by the way, for those of you that might even be questioning me, just go look at Lamar Jackson QB Challenge. There you go. Just have fun with that and watch how he can't hit still objects. But it's what I've talked about many times over. Athletes will freak you out because once in a while they'll make great passes. But if you think that's going to be the norm, no. You want the norm? Draft Russell Wilson. You want the norm? Draft Pat Mahomes. You want the norm? Draft Aaron Rodgers. You want the norm? Draft Tom Brady. Those guys will pass on an excellent level on a consistent basis. You want an athlete? You go ahead and draft Tannehill. You go ahead and draft Lamar Jackson. Those guys aren't ever going to bail you out with their arms. They depend on the running game. Lamar depends on his own legs, and Tannehill has to depend on somebody else's legs. But Lamar Jackson, please, my friend, don't talk about biases. You broke the mold. You did something that no one's ever done before. committed an NFL team to a running quarterback. That's not biased. That's breaking the glass ceiling, my friend. You might not understand the difference, but you broke the glass ceiling. That's what you did. So this bias crap, you might want to use it as your own motivation and all that other stuff. It doesn't exist in Lamar Jackson's world. So I don't know where you got bias from, but that ain't the case. All right. By the way, the Canes, Pete Thamel reported yesterday, to hire veteran NFL special teams coach Marwan Malouf. He has coached special teams in the NFL for 15 years. Mario Cristobal is putting together a staff of all staffs, man. I don't know if it'll measure to that Jimmy Johnson staff from years ago, because that was one great staff. And they proved themselves. These guys are going to have to prove it. But, wow, you got to love what they're doing, bro. You got to love what they're doing. And the Chiefs placed a franchise tag on Orlando Brown, which is what I told you would happen. They traded for the young lineman. Then he goes out and performs at a high level. You've got to protect Pat Mahomes after watching what happened to him 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. That's why when Dolphin fans kept bringing up Orlando Brown, I kept saying, don't even bother. Don't even bother. There's no way they will get Orlando Brown, because there's no way the Chiefs are going to allow him to go after they traded for him. You're not going to give up those picks. Then the guy performs, and then you're not going to give him the salary. No, you're going to give him the salary. Damn right you will. I'm sick of hearing about this division. Which one? The East Division, the Central, the North, the South? What are we talking about? What division you don't like hearing about? I know what you're talking about. Relax. I'm just joking. I'm just messing with you. I think Dustin fights at 154 right now. What else do we have here on we do have to check the Welt and Rayon text line, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. If you want to get in on the program. By the way, where is Bitcoin right now? Because it was climbing. I was wondering if it was going to continue to climb or come back down a little bit. Keep consolidating. Yes, 38,400. Yeah, keep consolidating. Take advantage. Take advantage. All right. On the Welton Rayon text line, Amari Cooper wants to be in Miami. I say let's go and bring him to the right place and keep track on bringing the best available offensive lineman. I am with you. I would love Amari Cooper here. Big ol' Mike Gesicki can be a Jimmy Graham or Aaron Hernandez without the murderers to us in this offense. He could. And from what I've heard, Gesicki isn't a murderer. So that's actually good. Did you say the first Zoo TV tour in Lakeland? Here's the whole show. I think it was Octoon Baby that I saw in Lakeland, not Zoo TV. Or is that the same thing? Was that Zoo TV? Isn't Zoo TV with Lemon and all that, right? That's that album, right? So, no, I think it was Octoon Baby that they opened the tour in Lakeland. But, hey, thank you for sending me that video in Lakeland, because I will check it out. But I think it was Octoon Baby. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was the Zoo. It was so long ago now. I think I told you guys a story. Some of you probably weren't listening, but we abducted a friend of ours. We used to play a game in our neighborhood called You've Been Abducted. And so, guys would stop. Hey, no, yeah, I'm going to go eat something. You guys want to go? You get in the car, you go to Burger King, McDonald's, whatever, Pizza Palace, whatever you were going to go to. And then come back, or the movies, come back, whatever, But once in a while, you got in a car and they told you they were going somewhere, but all of a sudden you ended up somewhere else for days and you didn't realize it. So, some have been abducted all the way to the Keys. Like they were just hanging out at the park shooting. They had no extra money, no nothing No extra clothes or anything. They got in the car. All right, where are we going? Oh, we're going to Key West. Huh? And you couldn't do anything. That's it. You were locked in the car. You've been abducted. So it was just one of those things. And we abducted somebody to that U2 concert. Yes. Hell yeah, yes. I'm from Texas. Do you have a mailing address? I have some very, very old Dolphin memorabilia I want to send you. Have a great day. Hope to come out for a home game and away game. Okay. All right, my friend. We will send you an address so you can ship us some classic Dolphin stuff that we'll put up here on the show. Oh, why are the Heat never on national TV? Are we going to have to get to the conference finals to get some respect? F them. We'll do it, James in the DR. You know, James in the DR, you got to understand this, okay? I'm not making any excuses. I'm not trying to defend the NBA. Let's be all honest now. All of us, let's be honest. Did we really think the Heat was going to be this good? Did we really imagine the 4 young guys would really turn out to be all good? Seriously. Like, Caleb Martin is good. Max Strus is good, right? Gabe Vincent is good. And Omar Yurtseven is good. How do you nail all 4 of them? They've overcome every injury possible. They're deeper than we ever thought. So the NBA probably didn't look at them as sexy. And here's the other thing, James in the DR. Let me remind you. The Miami Heat don't have any superstars on their team. So because they don't have a household name, superstarish, you know, they know Bam, but he's not a superstar. They know Jimmy, he's an all-star, but he's not a superstar. And so the people making the schedules and fans and media members and all, they don't look at the team like sexy. Now, everybody respects the crap out of the Heat. They respect Spo and all that stuff. But the sexiness wasn't, and it's still not a sexy team, by the way. It's our team. We love them. Right? Unconditionally, we love our Miami Heat. No matter what. But at the beginning of the year or in the offseason, when they're making all these schedules, nobody expected Miami to be this good. I never expected them to be this good. I never expected to have the kind of confidence I have in them now that I think I'm convinced they're better than the Nets, they're better than the Sixers, and they're better than the Bucks. I'm convinced of that. Now, they've got to go out and prove it, and it won't be easy, but I believe they're the best team in the NBA when healthy. And if you give me a healthy Oladipo, get the hell out of here. Hell yeah, they're the best team in the NBA. But I didn't have that opinion in the offseason. In the offseason, I thought, you know, everything at best, maybe the Eastern Conference Finals. That's changed. So, James, if I've changed the way I thought about this team and I didn't think that highly of them like I do now, that's your answer probably. They all had the same thing. Oh, yeah, you know, they're a solid team, whatever, but not super sexy. There's nobody sexy there. So we don't know how good they are. Lunch pail, this, that. Lunch pail isn't sexy. So that's your answer, my friend. Can't wait to go hang out with you in the DR and have a big ass bottle of Presidente. By the way, I saw Toast and his wife. Was it last week they were on vacation or this weekend? Whatever I saw, they had these big ass Heinekens in their hands. That was awesome, dude. That was awesome. Good for you, Toast. Please tell Joe we love the back and forth. It sounds like he's missing the point and getting frustrated. Oh, no, Joe's fine, dude. Don't worry about Joe. I've known Joe for 20 years. He's good, bro. Relax. He's not that sensitive. Surprise show on a Saturday. Keep me entertained while getting some chores done. Yes. Well, we try. Frank in Rochester says, would love to have you come up here. Would love to meet you. Keep up the great work. Well, Frank, get me a sponsor in Rochester that wants to fly us up there and put us up in a hotel and all that. And we'll gladly do a show up there and hang out with all the Dolphin fans in the Rochester, Buffalo area. Come on down. Lisa's up there. Which is one of our other regulars on the chat board is also in that area. We actually have several people in that area that listen to the show. It's pretty cool. So yeah, like I told you guys, we'll do shows from anywhere and everywhere in the world. Doesn't matter. Johnny Rotten says, Big O, you make me laugh at work. Keep it up, bro. I coached Cameron Thomas in high school at Carlsbad High. He has a Cam Wake-like motor. That's another guy. I would imagine that's one of the names that Poopart's going to bring up on Thursday. Wake-like motor and is a great kid. I coached him at Lake Norman High School in North Carolina. I like him too. He's one of those guys that you look at, and I think second round is where he's going to go. Early. I mean, it's kind of early, but from what I'm hearing, Nico says, I'm coaching my boys' 10U kids pitch baseball team, and I will tell you, it's way more entertaining than any MLB game. 2 hours of constant back and forth, highs and lows. Yeah. It's baseball nowadays is just so frustrating, ladies and gentlemen. It's what it is. It's just so incredibly frustrating what's going on. Eduardo Perez was like, hey, tweet out one word to describe this disagreement or whatever, strike or whatever, lockout or whatever. And I said, baffling. I sent to him because it's baffling. That's all it is. It's baffling. Now, let me ask you something. How excited are you about tonight's Heat game? Because I got to tell you, it's not so much about playing the Rockets. I'm really excited about Oladipo. I think the next couple of weeks are incredibly enormous for us Heat fans. Because think about this. You didn't make a trade, but all of a sudden you have an opportunity to add an all-star in March. On March 7th, if this young man can stay healthy and he has figured out his body, more importantly, it's figuring out his body and getting the confidence in his body. If those two things come together for Oladipo, then you have a chance at adding an all-star caliber player in early March to this basketball team. And this is going to give him a little over a month to get acclimated with his teammates, get his wind, build his body up. Because as you all know, I'm not breaking any news to any of you, you got to build your body up. Football, boxing, baseball, basketball, hockey, there's a wear and tear that comes with your body. He hasn't had that wear and tear of games and flying and all that and a twist here and whatever here, and you got to play through it. And you've got to build up that toughness, in a way. So all those things can happen in the next, 5 weeks, whatever is left of the season. And this will give him plenty of time to get acclimated. But for us as Heat fans, oh my God, I just told you about how confident I am about this team. And you couldn't be really confident about Oladipo. But man, if he comes out and starts to play well, these young guys fell into place. Oladipo stays healthy. Oh my God. What a great problem to have if you're Eric Spoelstra. So for me, that's the fun part about the next couple of weeks. Yeah, it's fun to watch Strus. It's fun to watch Jimmy's effort night in, night out. Bam on Saturday night didn't start off well, right? It wasn't like he had this monster game, but if you looked at the latter part of the game in the fourth quarter, he made a lot of winning plays there. Couple baskets, a whole bunch of rebounds, blocks, or turnovers. He helped out big time. Made some big plays down the stretch against the Sixers to kind of put the kibosh on them, obviously. So it's really nice to see certain players, and I love watching Caleb Martin. I love watching the growth of Caleb Martin. I'm enthralled with the fact that he is a pure Heat player. The way he plays the game, how hard he plays on both ends of the court. Strus too, man. I think Strus has a Heat-like quality to him also. So there's a lot of things I love watching on this Heat team. Gabe Vincent marvels me, man, how this young man has got the moxie to shoot with incredible confidence night in and night out. But if Oladipo in the next couple of weeks starts to give us vintage Oladipo, and somehow or another he figures out his body and it responds night in and night out leading into the playoffs, and more importantly, we watch a player that is confident out there, because Oladipo has never looked confident. Every time. Here we go. I think, okay, we're back now. Okay, so there we go. Sorry. I don't know what happened there. Something happened, technical snafu, but hopefully Oladipo is back and ready to go. Samuel Rosa says, Big O was disappointed about the Miami FC game. They got blown out, and actually Inter Miami. Miami FC is another team. And I understand their starting goalie is out, and the coach doesn't know how to put these guys together yet. Exactly. Yes, Sean.
No, I was just going to say StreamYard dropped. That was the problem.
Yeah, that damn StreamYard, those bastards. The hell's wrong with you, StreamYard? Come on. Come on, StreamYard. What is wrong with you, StreamYard? What happened to Big O? Didn't pay the bills. It is awesome. Ragin, aren't you? Yeah, I think Ragin's the one in Rochester. There he goes. I'm in Rochester. Would love to have you come in. There you go. So now it's up to you and Lisa and all the Rochester Dolphin fans. If you guys had got a Dolphins bar, well, then there you go. Come up with, you talk to the business and fly us up there, put us in a hotel, and we're ready to go. And we'll do it. What I would love to do? I know no host wants to do this, but I would, because I'm really a real fan. I love fans. I love the Dolphins. I love the Heat. I love the Panthers. But we don't have Heat watch parties and clubs all over the country. We have some fans, but the Dolphins, they have literal fan clubs all over the country. I would love to broadcast from 4, 5, 6 different Dolphin bars every year. Anywhere in the world. I don't give a crap. But if there's a group of Dolphins and a Dolphin bar that wants to put it together and send us up there and have some fun, we would love to do it. Can't do it in season. It has to be in the off season. But that is, man, that's awesome. That's what it's all about. That would be fantastic. We had a great time going up to New York a couple of weeks ago, hanging out with everybody at Sloman's, right? Jason and Zach. I love all these. Jordan, Chris Vitale, all these folks that we were hanging out with up there. We had a great time. And then we went over to Slattery's and hung out with a whole bunch of Dolphin fans that we go back and forth on Twitter and on Facebook and all that stuff, or here on the chat board. Nothing better than that. When we go out to Tommy Rockers and we're out there for several days, we're going to meet hundreds of Dolphin fans. That's going to be super cool. So we've talked about that. So let's do it. Yeah, preseason we can do it. We don't do pre-post game shows during preseason. We do it only in the regular season. So yes, actually, Sean and I could travel in the preseason. Yes, we could do that. We could do preseason type or pre and post game shows. There you go. There you go, Sean. That's what we could do. There's 3 games, and if there's 2 road ones, those 2 road ones, we can go to a bar. That's a great idea, by the way. Preseason travel, hanging out with Dolphin fans. That would be awesome. What's the news on Morris? Morris what? What am I missing? Morris the cat? Morris who?
I think he's talking about Markieff Morris.
Oh, okay. Nothing. Nothing.
Ira,
Morris.
Ira just sent out a tweet.
Oh, what did he say?
Hold on a minute. I'm trying to get to it right now because I just retweeted it. I want to make sure I say it properly. It was they re-signed Haywood Highsmith to another 10-day contract. So he's saying by signing him rather than a free agent power forward, it is another sign that the Heat expect Markieff Morris back.
Right. Okay. That's fine. I can live with that.
I believe that's what they're referring to.
Okay. All right. Bitcoin 38,100 right now. Telling you. Daniel Graham, yes, it is an Inter Miami hat. Yes. Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is. Just because they suck doesn't mean I don't love them and I don't root for them and want them to do well. I love my Inter Miami. That has nothing to do with me working with them or not or anything like that. I want the Moss family to have a ton of success and figure it out and get it done. I know it's not easy, man. DeJesse says, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Dolphin fan here. Surprisingly, there are quite a few fans here. And let me tell you, New Mexico is actually a pretty nice place, too. It's a little underrated. It's a nice little area, man. So, yeah. There you go. Cool. Little brother did an amazing at the combine. He is a Dolphin fan and an outside zone runner, specialist player to target on day 2 of the draft, says Rafael Pineda. Who's he talking about? I don't know who he's talking about.
He's a Cook's little brother.
Oh, Cook's little. Oh, I see. Cook's little. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, Cook. I do like him too. Yes. Big O, did you invest? No, I don't have any Algorand, and I do like Algorand. I don't have Avalanche, and I like Avalanche. Solana is one where I'm a little torn because it's really not all decentralized. The nodes they're kind of controlling it. It's really not decentralized, so it's a little shady. But still, Solana is really strong. There's certain companies. I mean, I'm not rich, man. I'm a working stiff, so I can only focus on a couple of coins. But Algorand, if you invested in Algorand, you did a great job, man. You did a great job. I think it's going to be a terrific investment. I think it's going to grow as time goes on. So I don't have Algorand, but I will tell you that is one that I would have gladly invested in with no problem whatsoever. The one I regret most is Avalanche. That's one that I was on early and I knew about it and I just didn't really have the funds. And, I'm just but because I kind of stick to my guns with the ones that I do believe in, Polygon. I'm a huge believer in Polygon. Cardano. I love all the FUD. I love the people doubting it. I love the enormous dips by Cardano now, and I just keep buying and staking because I know where that ecosystem is going to be 5 years from now. It's going to be a powerhouse. It will challenge Ethereum and could end up dethroning Ethereum when it's all said and done down the line. But, it's just like one of those deals. You just kind of I'd rather keep building my bags that are, because Algorand's already gone up a little bit, but keep building up my bags and on the ones that I do believe in, because once they do explode, then, VeChain has gone way down. I have no problem with that. Go for it, baby. Go for it. That's fine. You want to go all the way down to the 4 and the 5 cent area? Let's go. Most of my VeChain is on the 6, 7, 8 cent area. Now I've been able to lower the price by buying it at 4 and 5 cents. Bring it. Let's go. Others get frustrated because VeChain hasn't moved much for like 9 months. But you have to stay the course. And if you stake your Algorand or you stake your VeChain, what are you doing? You're getting more and more every month. Every month you're scooping in more and more at a low price. That's why all the staking I'm doing with Bitcoin now, all the Bitcoin I'm getting rewarded at right now is coming in the 30s and the low 40s. So all that Bitcoin you're giving me is going to go skyrocket. I got Crow. I get, what is it, 8% on my Crow? So it's gone down to 38, 39, 40, 41 cents. I mean, most of my Crow is between 8 and 18 cents, But I've bought some more as it's gone in certain dips because the thing went up to 90 cents and it's going to go over a couple of dollars when it's all said and done. But you got to have patience. Got to have patience. And if you can stake, that's how you really make your money in the long run. You will make a lot of money in the long run. Let's see. We should start a Big O fan club here in Rochester. Well, thank you. That's very nice of you, Ragin. Very nice of you. But let's just start a Dolphin fan club and let's bring us up there. Let's do that. Let's have some fun with that. PFF, Miami Dolphins highest completion rate on 20-plus yard passes last season. Number 1, Justin Herbert, 48.4. Tua Tagovailoa, 48.3. There you go, with no offensive line or running game, which is much more impressive. Let's see. Inter Miami, I like the team regardless. The loss, the coach needs to figure out how to coach those players. They'll be a good team if he figures out what to do with this team. We will see. OK Coin doesn't stake. No, they don't have staking for Bitcoin at the moment. They do not, sir. They do not. I'm not saying that they won't have it. Maybe they will add it in the future, but at the moment, they don't have it. I'd be lying to you. Patience is a key in any long-term investment strategy. Amen, Brent. But you know what the problem is? The folks that don't have patience are usually the people that invested money that they shouldn't have invested. That's all it is. When you invest money you desperately need, you shouldn't have done that. If you're investing money that you don't need, that you can live without, that's the money you invest. The money you don't need, the money you can live without, the money you can even lose if you had to lose in any investment, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's crypto, whatever. But you don't invest the money that you need to support your family or yourself. Never. You don't invest the money that you need to pay for the mortgage or your car. And that's usually what happens. The people that don't have patience, it's either they lack the understanding, or on the other end, they needed the money that they invested and they thought that they were going to make a quick buck or something. And they have these, misconception, which it's all possible to make a quick buck in anything. But that doesn't mean you're always going to make it. A lot of times you got to invest and be patient and wait and let it grow. And then when it grows, you will then be grateful that you waited that long. Still holding some AMC, waiting for the squeeze. Yeah, I get it, Barney. I get it. I don't, but that one's more of it's kind of like a gamble almost with that, because that's up and down and it's squeezed here, then it drops again, and then it's short squeezed again and it drops again. It's just, that's a crazy pendulum. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to deal with that one, but good luck to you, because I know several friends of mine that have been doing the AMC or in past the GameStop stuff and all, and AMC, to their credit, they're trying to keep it afloat, and they've tried to build off of that other stuff that's happened with them, with all the money that they've gotten lately with some of the infusion with their stocks. Newfoundland says, with all the crap talk about tagging or signing Agba, pay this man so we can have the edge set for the next few years. Well, it depends on what he's asking for, my friend. You can't just pay to pay. Maybe Drew Rosenhaus is asking for 20 million, 22 million. Maybe he's asking for a crazy ass number. Maybe he's not asking for 16. See what I'm saying? So it's needs to be negotiated. Now, then again, maybe Drew Rosenhaus spoke to a team in the combine last week that told him, hey, no, we'll pay your guy 22, 23 million. Come on, bring him over. We got the money. Maybe he knows that already. And Agba can only sign one big deal. He's at the age that he won't get a second big deal. It's not going to happen. So he has to make sure that this deal, he milks it for every penny possible. So there you go, my friends. That's what's going on. What else do we have here? Panthers, by the way, they are back in action tonight against the Sabres. You know, they have 10 games this year with at least 6 goals or more. I saw that note in the paper. I forgot which one it was, the Herald or the Sentinel. I saw that this morning, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. 10 goals this year with 6 goals or more. It's awesome. They beat the Red Wings 6-2 on Saturday. Barkov had 3 assists. Bennett had a goal and assist. Lundell had 2 goals. That Lundell kid, wow. Holy moly. Bob had 22 saves. I think Bob in the last 2 games has like 40 saves. I think he had like 18. Let's see. I know I wrote it down. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, I was right. 18 and 22. He has 40 saves in his last 2 games. Bob's sitting back there with a Perdomo cigar, and he's got about an ash this fat and long on the Perdomo cigar, and he's just like hanging out, just tap, just chilling, bro. 40 saves in the last 2 games. They take on the Sabres tonight at KeyBank Center. Speaking of Rochester and upstate New York, our Panthers are in upstate New York. And one more thing, because I know people keep bringing it up to me on DM and all of that. I got to say, I don't know what went on in this story, but Laz and Cutler Ridge, again, I don't know. I know there's video and all that stuff, and they talk about him concealing the knife as he approaches his neighbor and their disagreement and all of that. And, I don't know. I don't know Laz like personally tight friends or anything, but knowing him over the years and connecting with him, you kind of, don't get that impression. And you don't know if he was just standing his ground, if he was defending himself. And I don't know the neighbor or anything like that, folks. But here's what I would say to anyone when I saw this story. Have some patience. Avoid those kind of confrontations. It's not needed in your life. Physical confrontations are not needed in anyone's lives. And they don't end well a lot of times. And be careful with weapons. Sure, you buy a weapon, you have a weapon to defend yourself. But be very careful the second you grab that weapon, you're now making a decision. And then you have to then live with the repercussions from that decision. And you may be just or you may be unjust in using that weapon. But remember, even if you feel you're just, you're not the one that decides it. A judge, a jury will decide it. That doesn't mean any kind of guarantees, ladies and gentlemen. So I know things aren't easy in life. I know a lot of us are going through tough times. Whether you lost your job, whether you're finding a job, whether you're at home, whatever it is. And some of us might be short-tempered or whatever. But say your piece, walk away. There's no need to fight about anything. Whether it was stray animals in this case, or all these silly other things like somebody cutting you off. If they cut you off, you know what? Just let it go, man. Let it go. Crank up the music and chill out. No need to get into confrontation because you got crazy people that just pull out a gun from their glove compartment And then they make that decision that they have to live with for the rest of their lives. And then it's two families that have to then suffer the repercussions of those decisions. The person that got killed and the person that either, committed the act. And whatever that act is. And Laz could have been defending himself, or he could be guilty. I don't know. I wasn't there. You weren't there. None of us were there. But the second you grabbed that knife, you made a decision. The second you grab that gun, you're making a decision. Be careful. The repercussions from that decision could change the outcome of your life and your family's life. I can't imagine what Marine is going through right now. Can't imagine it. And I'm not here to defend Laz, and I'm not here to prosecute or persecute Laz, because I wasn't there and I don't know what happened. But all I know is, ladies and gentlemen, you may have a weapon in your house, but please make sure if you're going to use that weapon, you understand the repercussions, the responsibilities that come with it, and understand what you're arguing about. Is it really worth anybody's life? Where every day we see cars getting shot on the highway. You know what? Try not to cut anybody off. And if they cut you off, you're not really gaining anything from, arguing. It happened already. Did you crash? No? Great. Move on. Let it go. Because it could end up worse than a crash. Could end up that somebody could end up dying. Not worth it, man. It's a really, really, disturbing story that I read about Laz. And again, I'm not here to judge anybody because I wasn't there and I don't know. But what I do know is once you grab a weapon, you've made a decision. And now you have to live with that decision. And you're going to have to live with whatever a judge and a jury decides. And you may think you're innocent. You might be innocent. Maybe you are innocent. Doesn't mean you'll end up innocent. Anyway, so I wish them the best. I hope everything works out. It's tough, man. It's tough. Tough one. All right. We are out of here. We will see you guys tomorrow. We thank Sean Stanley, of course. An exceptional job as always mastering this program and fighting StreamYard's dumps. But he's the man. He's the man. He's going to get it done. By the way, when's the next wrestling show? Tell him.
Tonight at 11 o'clock.
There you go. The tireless workers that we are. Tonight at 11 o'clock. You will catch Sean Stanley for you wrestling fans out there. You got your wrestling show now. After every match, the man is out there after everyone ready to go. And on Wednesdays, you will catch him after our show right here. So he will do his thing, the Square Circle Digest. And remember, tomorrow, George Richards starts with our Panther Reports. Wednesday, Ian Rappaport will start. There you go. Thursday, David Dwork. So there you go. Frankie says AEW was great last night.
Yes, it was.
Was it? It was? Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Not the root beer, the wrestling.
Why we keep hitting it? No, A&W is the root beer. AEW is the wrestling night at pay-per-view, and they had media scrums go until 2 o'clock this morning. So I'm a little bit tired.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you were part of the media scrums too?
Yeah, they have them on the YouTube channel. So I was there watching them. They had Sting and CM Punk and Tony Khan and Jurassic Express and some others. They actually do well with that because I think they make it, that brings out the sports aspect of the sports entertainment, because after the big event, they have the press conferences.
That's nice. All right. Wait a minute. I'm shocked I haven't seen the press conferences on our site since you put all the other ones. What the hell?
They're a little bit grainy. Not everybody. They're not. They don't
see.
have the 4K cameras. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, on our YouTube page, Sean puts all the press conferences from Dolphins and Inter and the Heat and whoever it is, all the local teams as they do their press conferences after. Sean then puts them up, and so you can always catch up there with all the press conferences. All right. So we got to thank Marcel Louis Jacques, Alan Poupart, and Ira Winderman. Sean Stanley, as always, we thank all of you for tuning in. Appreciate all of you for keeping it locked here and supporting us. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a great one.